I kind of want to go back to like what I was saying, right? Because you just said that.
What you're saying was stupid, but we can.
Well,
do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
We
Wait.
By upholding the status quo,
Get it.
by upholding the status quo, which implicitly harms black people, we can call them an Uncle Tom, right?
I guess the thing is, I guess like here's an idea. Here's the thing that I think would combat white supremacy very, very, very quickly. I believe that we should expand the access to the federal government to access citizens' personal interaction online, and those communities that we know explicitly are members that commit crimes publicly. So this could be groups like the Proud Boys, the One Percenters, other neo-Nazi and adjacent organizations. We collaborate with hate group specialists and hate group professionals and people who specialize in white supremacy to create a list. And that list is used explicitly to target people who interact in those internet forums, who interact in those places publicly, and they should be arrested and charged.
No.
Hey, Joe, what are you arresting these white supremacists for?
We should get them out
Just
there.
for being white supremacists, or?
Basically.
I mean, sure. We can arrest them for being white supremacists.
We'll arrest a lot of black people too.
Black people? Okay. Round up those Uncle Toms then. Let's go.
Aren't you hurting black people though?
Hold on. Pause. So you think the people who have committed murder, the people who have committed rape, domestic violence, you don't think it's weird that the nigga that had his cousins fighting dogs is more notoriously blackballed than all of those people combined?
No, I'm saying that him beating his dogs or whatever is not really that much of a big deal in my opinion.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my God.
There he is. Coffee Politics. Brand new individual to our panels here, our closed panel. They stopped by the open panel a few days ago and decided to invite them. Coffee Politics, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing fine. Is my mic still muted actually, or?
No, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah. I'm doing fine. I'm really glad to join this panel. So I think the topics are really interesting. So can't wait to talk about them.
Okay, all right. Finally, we have Isle of Isles, who was also here doing an open panel, and came through and put up a good fight. We love that. A person who disagrees with the rest of us. And so I hit them up, and yeah, happy to have them around. So Isle, how are you?
I'm doing fine. I had to leave early last time because, I was doing the poll working for the primary in New York, but I'm really glad to be here, and hopefully I'll be able to stay the whole time. And, with this abortion discussion, I'm like really happy to have it because, I think I'm like the yin to your yang on that. So, we'll see how the discussion continues.
We love it. All right, let's do it. Okay, first topic. Following Roe v. Wade being overturned, the conservative justices on the Supreme Court have received heavy criticism on social media. Clarence Thomas, especially, has been roundly derided. As Samuel L. Jackson took to Twitter to imply that Thomas was an Uncle Tom. Do you think this is a fair characterization? Can a black man have conservative beliefs without being an Uncle Tom? Or does anyone who advances that ideology deserve that level of criticism? So yeah, Clarence Thomas, who I have all kinds of feelings about, is being attacked for the stances that he's been taking. I mean, literally his entire legal career. But is this a special type of attack? Is it going too far, calling him an Uncle Tom? And in case you don't know what that is, it's a possibility. It's like a black person who is perceived to be subservient to white authority, to actively assist in white supremacy, honestly, or to be doing it for profit or anything like that. A sellout, basically. This is what we're saying. So is that a fair characterization of Clarence Thomas? We'll start with our friend D1O Dream.
Well, it is not a fair characterization because, number one, there's so many black conservatives up there that would be pro-life. So he's just a black conservative that's pro-life. So calling him Uncle Tom doesn't really make sense with the race argument, especially when he said how does Uncle Clarence feel about Loving versus Virginia? Because Loving versus Virginia is about thinking that ruling that interracial marriage is okay, and he's in an interracial marriage himself, so obviously he would be fine with that. So it just doesn't really make sense. I think you can critique him in different ways, saying how he's maybe anti-woman. That would make more sense. But making this a race thing doesn't make sense because a lot of Black people would agree with Clarence Thomas. It's this abortion thing is not a race thing. It's a gender thing, sex thing. I really don't think it's a race thing because there's a lot of Black conservatives, a lot. Maybe not out there publicly, but maybe closeted conservatives. A lot of Black conservatives.
Thank you for saying that, Dream, because then it gives me an excuse to fight you. All right. We'll move on to our friend Joe Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, Clarence Thomas, because he's a Supreme Court judge, will be put in positions where he might have to vote in favor of precedent, like the president with this current Supreme Court ruling that could overturn Loving v. Virginia, because Loving v. Virginia was not based on the rights of citizens, because we believe that Black people should be able to marry white people is on the basis of privacy. So any argument that was on the basis of privacy is on the table, including Loving v. Virginia. And then despite that, we still don't have laws, practices, policies, and procedures that explicitly allow for interracial marriage. And sure, the Supreme Court is able to interpret rights that don't exist within the Constitution, but this is the first time in the Supreme Court's history, at least as far as I know, where rights were explicitly taken away from citizens. And yeah, so if there's a case that's brought forth that is making a privacy argument that's in contradiction to the one that was recently brought forth, then yeah, you could see a situation where Loving v. Virginia is overturned. And that's kind of the situation that Clarence Thomas signed him up to be in, which is why, I think if you are a judge or wanting to be a Supreme Court judge, you kind of have to put that in your calculus. So Clarence Thomas, as a Black American, might be put into a situation where things that aren't overtly protected through law are potentially stripped. And that's a situation that could happen to any minority who's in the position of Supreme Court justice. If you're gay, straight, man, woman, you might be put in a situation where certain things, because of the unwillingness of the government to solidify these things in the law, like Roe v. Wade, you're going to be put in situations like this, and this is your career. So while I do think Samuel Jackson is kind of reaching, and it's a little weird of a reach, he's not far off in saying that Black people, and especially Black politicians, Black judges, are going to be put into situations that might take a step back on civil rights and liberties. But that's what they signed up for being a judge,
Thank you for that. All right, let's move on to coffee politics.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's several angles you could go with this, right? Okay, so is Clarence Thomas and Uncle Tom, because he did overturn, or if Samuel O. Jackson is right for him overturning Loving v. Virginia, then I will say yes, he is indeed an Uncle Tom. However, is he a bad person for being against Roe v. Wade, or is he an Uncle Tom for being against Roe v. Wade? I definitely think he's not. So I think Clarence Thomas should have his own opinions, and I respect him for that. I also believe that I personally believe that Roe v. Wade should have been overturned myself. So I think people should have their own opinions. So not much I can say for that, but I'm sure there's a lot to debate. So.
All right, next we have Isle. Isle, please.
You're muted, Isle.
Yep.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, we can. Thank you.
So, yeah, I agree with some of the stuff that's already been said. As a public figure, you're opened up to scrutiny by the public. Do I think that, calling someone who is an African American conservative an Uncle Tom or any associated derisive slur or moniker, I don't think that's appropriate. I think that's crass, and I think that's just you know, just a telling of Samuel L. Jackson's character that he would do that. But I think he has every right to do that if that's what he feels. Um, on the matter of Roe versus Wade, where this is came into place, I think that Roe versus Wade should have been kept up as the law of the land. I am someone who is more pro-life, but I believe that since we live in a secular constitutional republic, that we should have compromises, and I think that Roe versus Wade was the perfect compromise of this situation. So I disagree with Thomas in his opinions and his decision to ultimately overturn Roe versus Wade, but I respect him as the oldest serving member of this current configuration of the Supreme Court. He's the second African American to hold the office as a Supreme Court justice. So I think he's like a historical figure, and I think that that's in and of itself worthy of respect. Um, Although I disagree with him on many things.
Hey, our friend Jay Cook has just arrived. Thanks for being here, Jay Cook. We've always are excited to have her around. So yeah, thanks for being around. Jay Cook, please introduce yourself, and then the first topic.
Yeah, I'll be quick. My name is Jay Cook Sonata. I'm a variety game streamer on Twitch. Yeah, that's it. In this case, I do think it's a fair characterization. Not just based on my beliefs, I am pro-choice, but also just based on the context of how this decision came to be. It's pretty hypercritical, in my opinion. Sorry, am I getting feedback?
Yeah, it might be you. I'm not positive, but it might be you. Try by keeping yourself muted when you're not talking.
Okay.
It might be you. And if you have headphones, that'll help. But okay, let's keep going, please.
Yeah. I don't think it's like not every conservative Black man is an Uncle Tom. I think that's a far stretch and pretty outrageous to make that claim. I don't know if I don't think I heard that so far. But I do think he's responsible for this. He deserves this level of criticism.
Okay, all right. Let's go to a new challenger who's arrived, right? If someone who I've had here for forever, and
an OG,
Miss, yeah, and my man Pyro Tyrant, who's often is busy. He's got like work stuff, So
Bro, I have like 3 jobs now. It's fucking horrible.
Oh my god, yeah. But we're happy that you could spend some time with us. So, Pyro. Pyro Pirate, I think is maybe you should consider that one. Pyro, please.
Yeah, when it comes to calling fucking Clarence Thomas Uncle Tom, shit like that, I don't necessarily know how I feel about instantly jumping to such a, racial name when I could just call him every type of a piece of shit in the book, bro. Like he's camel shit, he's dog shit, horse shit, pig shit. I don't know why I have to jump to Uncle Tom, but like understanding where people are coming from, I think Joe laid it out kind of best, but like I'll clarify a little bit. When he took this stance, like overturning a right that wasn't exactly directly codified in the Constitution, he opened himself up to these criticisms because there's going to be a lot of black people, specifically like Whoopi Goldberg, Samuel L. Jackson, and a lot more people who aren't going to get notoriety for their comments that are going to look at this and be like, yo, what about the shit that pertains to us that happened in the 70s that's not technically, codified as a right? Are we just going to stand by and let that happen? Because that's where it seems like Clarence is going with this shit.
All right.
He's a piece of shit, though.
I'll give my opinion on this. Clarence Thomas is absolutely an Uncle Tom. I love it. Thank you, Samuel L., for leading the way. All right, Samuel L. is always at the forefront of these things. Yes, thank you. Call him out. Call him out for what he is. What is the difference? What is the difference between Clarence Thomas and fucking Candace Owens, right? Like Uncle Tom in Chief, Clarence Owens. What's the difference between them? The difference between is Clarence has power. Like, he can actually enact his will. So while Candace Owens can only have a talk show and say the most vile things about black people, right, to her white audience for profit, Clarence Thomas can actually implement those things into law, or to case law at least, but ends up being the same thing. So I love it that people are calling this man now like historical figure. Who gives a fucking shit, right? Yeah, like, he was the first black man in the Supreme Court to sell us down the river. Wow, it's so beautiful. I can't wait to tell my children that, right? When he puts us back in fucking bondage. He's a horrible person. He's dog shit. And we should call him out. And Uncle Tom is more than appropriate to do so. All right, open.
I think when it comes to Clarence Thomas, he might be Uncle Tom for other things, for other reasons that I'm not really well read about that. But for this particular reason, for anti-abortion, I don't think that's a race. Oh, if he's anti-abortion, he's Uncle Tom. Because if that's the case, there's a bunch of Uncle Toms as black people.
No. It's not just it's not just for this case.
Okay,
it's just that he's being hit in this case. So,
that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying, if Samuel L. Jackson is calling Clarence Thomas Uncle Tom for other reasons, then okay, cool. But to call him Uncle Tom for this reason, this doesn't make any logical sense to me personally. Now, to go off what Joe was talking about, how this case opens up for other cases based on privacy, sure, but I really don't think Loving versus Virginia applies, because when it comes to Roe v. Wade, it's about, it's a very hot topic issue about is it a life? When is it a life? Can we kill future human lives? Right? That's a very hot topic. When it comes to when it comes to just marry who you want, and if it's consensual, then yeah. Right. So the issue with abortion is that the fetus that's being killed can't consent. But when it comes to people getting married, those are two consenting human beings. Right. So that's why I think even if it went to trial, Loving versus Virginia, which I really don't think it will, it's very, very clear cut and case that it's the privacy issue is not an issue here. That it will apply, and it's still going to stand as you can marry whoever you want. When it comes to abortion, it's more hot topic. So even if it was going to trial, I don't think it'll be overturned, because it's pretty much cut and clear that you can do whatever you want when it's consenting.
All the cases that were based on privacy are on the table. So
even if they
we can recognize that Loving v. Virginia is on the table. And this moralization that you think it's not going to happen, I mean, it's cute to go to bed and think like that, but it's on the table. And if we understand that it's on the table, then it's up for the government to legislate that it's no longer on the table.
But the chances are it won't.
What do you think's faster? The government making a decision that overtly says that people can marry whoever they want regardless of their race? Do you think that's faster than the Supreme Court saying that this is going to be overturned? Which one do you think is faster?
I don't think it matters. I think neither are likely. That's what I'm saying.
So do you don't think it's possible for the United States government to make a law federally that
everything's
permits?
possible? Everything's possible. I said likely for a reason.
But do you think that do you think interracial marriage is popular in the United States?
Yep.
Yes.
Do you believe that it's popular so?
Bruh, I'll take it. Like, yeah, absolutely. And comparative to the rest of the world.
So if you believe it to be popular, do you think it's popular so much so that the United States government, as it's currently constructed, cannot make a federal law making it a right for citizens to marry, regardless of their race?
I don't think that they will ban interracial marriage.
No, I'm not saying the ban interracial marriage. I'm saying to put it in the law explicitly. That
we can. It's a right,
can.
like 100%.
Why would they need to?
Why would they, you don't need. First of all, you don't need rights to tell you what to do.
I mean, tell that to the people in the States right now, just throwing the fucking fit because Roe v. Wade just got overturned.
I mean,
yeah, you kind of.
there's
if you want to practice that, if you want to practice that shit in the States where they might be a little bit fucky on, you kind of do need the federal government to be like, yeah, citizens can fucking do this. Like, if I'm in Tennessee and they say, yo, blacks can't marry whites, and then they enforce that shit, I'm in trouble.
You don't need a law that says, hey, you have the right to buy a PlayStation 5. Like that specifically.
I mean,
yeah, there's also no right that says that, oh, you have a right to marry someone, right? Like, there's just implied rights that we have, and
yes, and this is the first time that an implied right was taken away from people.
Well, so it wasn't necessarily an implied right. It was into law.
An implied right for an abortion was taken away from citizens, and now all the other implied rights that were argued on privacy are on the table.
But it was in conflict with another right? So the conflict with abortion. But there's no conflict. What right are people going against when we ban or when we allow for interracial marriage? That interracial marriage is not going against any other person's rights. But when you allow for abortion, it can be argued that you're going against somebody else's rights, the fetus's right to live. That's why it makes logical sense that this could be overturned just for privacy reasons. There's other good arguments that could go to court and then it will later be allowed to have abortion federally. You just need better arguments than the right to privacy.
So all I'm trying to say is that maybe it's possible.
Of course it's possible.
I'm saying maybe it's possible that Congress can come together and instead of waiting for the Supreme Court to decide, they can just make a law that's just the law of the land, as opposed to just sitting on their laurels and then getting butt fucked by a Supreme Court decision.
Well, it's not I won't even because I understand what you're saying, Joe, but just to break it down, it's not even like they're sitting on their laurels. They're relying on this court case. And we're using the example of interracial marriage. What about fucking Obergefell versus Hodges, the fucking, gay rights case, right? What if they decide to come after that? Because that was one of the ones listed where Clarence Thomas was like, yo, we might need to look at this. What about that? There's shit that when he says that, it not only means he's talking about the Roe v. Wade case, it implies that he's talking about other cases that, like Joe Lewis is trying to say, aren't codified rights by the federal government. I understand what you guys are saying where you're like, yo, it's just a bunch of rights they put down on a paper. There's nothing actually stopping you. But yeah, there is. If the state decided tomorrow that, yo, PS5s are just and they recall every PS5 and shit, and then I want to buy a PS5, I'm going to have a hard fucking time. I live in New York State. I can use that example with guns. When New York State says, yo, you have to go through all of these fucking hoops and, flips and backwards walks to get a fucking gun, guess what? That fucking impacts me. I want a gun. I cannot get one.
But you see how
recently they overchanged that shit, but I got to race against the state.
Everything you just said, you provided a good reason for the argument. Why are we, limiting guns? Because they can kill a lot of people. Why are we gonna ban PS5s? Because they have dangerous batteries that can explode. But there's no reasonable argument to ban interracial marriage to disallow that.
Neither does
please name me one.
You're a logical person.
Name me one.
The point that we're trying to make is that
they would hold up in court.
No, we don't know that because
The point isn't that we know for an
analogous. You can't make abortion and interracial analogous just because they share the same clause, but the clause applies differently.
Okay. So let me see if I'm understanding this very clearly.
Abortion is they have a good reason for it to be banned, which is it conflicts with the right of the fetus, right? And you can make the argument that fetuses don't have rights. You can make that, which is a good argument. But at least there's a different side. But when it comes to interracial marriage, when it's this, you're not going against any other person's rights. It's two consenting adults. The fetus can't consent, right? So that's the conflict there. There's no conflict with interracial marriage when it's consensual. So I'm not seeing the argument where, oh yeah, it could be. I mean, anything's hypothetically possible, right? So yeah, of course. But the likelihood of it ever happening with Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade was a likelihood term because we're split on interracial. We're split on abortion as a country.
Well,
half of us want it, half of us don't. But when it comes to interracial marriage, I really don't. Do you have the stat that half of America don't like interracial marriage?
The point that I'm trying to make is that why the fuck are we waiting to see statistics if you believe something to be popular? And I'm saying explicitly, this is not a guarantee. There is nothing in the books that's saying that like dating, like marriage, like restrict the restriction of marriage based on race. There's no law that's saying that, like federally, that's saying like you cannot prohibit this action. And I'm saying that, hey, we shouldn't wait. We shouldn't wait. If we believe this is something
that's reasonable, sure,
we should write it in, make it a law,
and don't wait. Else.
No, I'm saying, and don't wait for the Supreme Court to just like make a decision that could overturn it. That's why we got into the same situation with Roe, because legislatively, abortion wasn't popular, and it's still not popular. And despite that, like you still have situations where you have politicians saying we must codify it in the law, and it's like, okay, Democrats, hold on, let me vote harder. I'm voting so hard blue right now. Can you feel it? Can you feel
it's
me
like an episode
so blue?
It's like an episode of DBZ, right? The power up takes like 50 fucking years to codify into law, and by the time they actually do it, the Republicans already had their way with it.
Yeah, like what's like, and now we're in a situation where it's like, okay, Democrats, balls in your court. We voted. Well, we voted blue no matter who, and Rose gone. What are you gonna do? Make a law?
Can I say something?
Make a law now?
That's a good strategy, Joe. That's a good strategy. They should have already federally allowed for abortion, right? Instead of just allow the courts to decide, and now the states have this, have the decision. Yeah. And so, like, I don't think anybody would be like, no, don't put that interracial marriage allowance law in there. Like, I do think that's a good idea. Just put it in just to ensure. Yeah, why not?
And then like you can, and that's like my point is that you can just like, instead of making these big giant bills to have all these fucking things, you can just play the game of like, here's a single policy prescription. Here's a single bill. Let's vote on it. And then you'll see what happens. Yeah. But the thing is that Republicans aren't stupid. They'll know what the game is. They'll see like, oh, because of all these arguments that are based on privacy, and now Democrats went too slow. But again, Democrats don't agree with this level of incrementalism. They'll want to make some giant bill that covers as many things as possible, so then they can go across the aisle and suck Republicans' dicks in private, and then call them villains in public. So I don't know. Like
everyone likes a bad boy, Joe. What do you mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So Yama, if I ask this question, right? So I'm reading here a Gallup poll that says that. Because, okay, so if we're going to consider Clarence Thomas to be an Uncle Tom for being against Roe v. Wade or...
No, they're not.
Not just that. No,
it's not justification.
Yeah. It's the reason why... and it's not... Well, multiple things. One, it's for his ruling on how he ruled on it. That part's important. Right? That part is very important. Not necessarily that he's against abortion. That's not like, a lot of black people are against abortion. That's a separate thing. And then it's his past rulings as well. All the things he's done there, but like not the fact that he's against abortion.
Yeah, but I'm just reading a Gallup poll right here that says that 50% of black Democrats don't even agree with abortion, right? Or like even like black non-Democrats, like 66% of them don't agree with abortion. So it seems like most black people in America don't even agree with abortion. So it seems like, if anything, Clarence Thomas agrees with most black people in America.
But it's not what we're talking about. So it's
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't
unimportant.
give a fuck of what people believe. It's that it's possible that these people are making decisions that go against and hurt black communities. And like if you are in fact pro-abortion, you can make the argument that you are actually hurting black communities. If we understand that I think it's like something, well, I think black women are the highest statistic of women who have abortions. So like if we were to, and then like someone can fact check me on that if they'd like, but let's function. All right, let's function like it's true. Let's function like it's true. If that's the case, then what argument would you make to be pro-life in that case? If we're like, again, we can check the stat if we want to and then like clarify it. But for the functioning of this hypothetical, then if we're in a situation where abortions disproportionately affect black women the most, what is being pro-life mean in that case? And what would you do and what would your arguments be?
Are you talking to me or
just anyone who wants to answer? It's cool.
Wait,
well, I kind of want to go back to like what I was saying, right? Because you just said that
what you're saying was stupid, but we can.
Well, yeah. Oh, I mean, you said that his power is hurting black people, but he also stands with most black people. He's a representative, right? So
he's not a representative. He's a representative. He's okay. How is he a representative of black people? His wife is white.
Well, yeah, but I mean, regardless,
you want to make it weird? I can make it really weird if you want.
Well, his wife doesn't really matter. His wife doesn't really matter about politics, right? Or I'm talking about like what policies he's pushing, right? The policy he's pushing overlines with most black people. So, like,
no, I don't think Trump empower that policy she has.
I don't think.
Sorry,
I don't think though Roe v. Wade and Uncle Tom has any relation to do with each other. It's just what I'm saying. So,
do you think it's possible? Do you think it's possible? Okay, let me make sure I'm understanding the floor here because we might be functional before it doesn't exist. Do you believe that black people can navigate in a way that's against the interests of black people by and large?
Yep.
Do you think those type of people exist?
Mm-hmm.
What would you call them?
Well, if they willingly know that, like if they willingly know that they're actually hurting black people.
Sure, let's do it with the willingly. Let's go with the explicit.
Yeah, then there would there would be an Uncle Tom, yeah.
So there would be an Uncle Tom.
Yeah.
What about the implicit ones?
The implicit ones, so like if they do not know, they
through their actions, their actions have the impact of hurting black people, even though they don't overtly.
Then yeah, they're not an Uncle Tom.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of black criminals, black thugs that, like, they hurt black people, but most people wouldn't really consider them an Uncle Tom. So.
Why do you think they wouldn't consider them an Uncle Tom?
Because they're not really consciously doing it. They're not saying, "Oh, I gotta hurt black people today," right? They're just doing it because they want to commit a crime.
Okay, so do you think that there's like another layer as to why people might hurt black people that might be important here? There's a reason why we call them Uncle Toms.
Yeah, they have to. They have to willingly know that, okay, I'm doing this because I hate black people, or
more than that, a little bit further.
Okay, well, how about you tell me?
No,
you're almost there.
Jacob's being a piece of shit, but I'll go out. Listen, she wants you to jump off the cliff. I want you to walk towards it.
Okay, well, tell me.
Stop being assholes to both of y'all. Just let him give his explanation, bro. Like it's unfounded and it's like uncharitable.
Okay. This is true. True.
I'll stop.
I will not be mean to new people.
No, you could be mean to me. Give me all the heat.
I guess like, do you think that there's like a type of a group of people that you might be catering to in your actions? When these people are called Uncle Toms, like
wait, what?
People in power, like maybe the reason why like people are called Uncle Toms is because.
Yeah, I don't think you should call anybody I don't think you should call anybody an Uncle Tom if they're not really if they're not really purposely doing it, right? If it's just like. If they're subconsciously doing something or they don't even understand what they're doing, like I don't understand what's the point of calling them an Uncle Tom. They're not truly an Uncle Tom.
Yeah, I agree with like just throwing out names without like any justification.
Yeah.
But it appears like people are called Uncle Toms by their actions, regardless of their complicit or otherwise. It seems like there's people out there who are willing to cater to the status quo. So much so that it could hurt their own community.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just don't think that catering to the status quo necessarily makes you an Uncle Tom, right?
There it is.
Well, what if that status quo just like demonstrably hurts black people?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, if they're doing that, then yeah, they probably would be an Uncle Tom. Yeah. But
Mm.
but at the same time,
all right.
So we got
wait.
by upholding
hold on.
the status
We got-
quo, by upholding the status quo, which implicitly harms black people, we can call them an Uncle Tom, right?
No, explicitly harms black people.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, then let me present a case to you.
But most
okay?
black people
Let's
agree
talk
with
about-
them, so
Yeah,
I don't
No,
understand.
I got. Hold on. Let's give you a case then, right? Let's talk about the Voting Rights Act. The Voting Rights Act, which Clarence Thomas himself has specifically weakened. He struck down Section 4 of the Voting Rights Act, him and the rest of the conservative cronies. This was in 2013. He helped strike that down.
What did he strike? What was
Section
it?
4. Section 4 of the Voting Rights Act.
Okay.
Yeah. So Section 4 of the Voting Rights Act, they struck that down. And I remember when this happened because it was not even a day afterwards. Basically, like what happened with Roe v. Wade happened then. And we had states with like trigger laws that like the moment it went down, they put in restrictions, right, that hurt African Americans. And he said it wasn't needed. And then also in a separate opinion, right, this is in 2009, dealing with the Voting Rights Act. So the court upheld Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act, right? They upheld Section 5, 8-1. The one who voted to get rid of it, that was Clarence Thomas. And he says, I just missed... I missed this quote. It's somewhere in this article. I'm sorry, but it basically says that like it's up to Congress to decide if we even really need this anymore, right? If are black people really being hurt by voter discrimination? That was Clarence Thomas. So please tell me this man is not Uncle Tom. Explain to me.
Me? I mean, I agree.
When the other conservative court members, they said that was a step too far. Clarence Thomas, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's an Uncle Tom, yeah, but I don't think Roe v. Wade has anything to do with it, so...
Oh my God!
It's not just Roe v. Wade. Like we can explain it. I can break it down for you, Barney style. But like we've already done that.
But that's the prompt, right? Like the prompt.
I made it very clear. No. What it says, the prompt says, is that with the striking down of Roe v. Wade, the conservative courts justices are getting a lot of heat, right? And then Samuel L. Jackson comes on and makes a statement, right? But it's the impetus is because that this happened. But this ain't the only time people have called him an Uncle Tom, right? This is just because of this ruling. But it's his larger judicial background. That's why his body of work is why people call him that. Not because of one fucking ruling that people, oh yeah, I guess I don't like Clarence Thomas. It's his entire tenure on the court.
And like every time someone opens his mouth about a ruling, people call him an Uncle Tom because surprise, surprise, dog shit just falls out. Like I wouldn't be surprised either. But
hey, Coffee.
Okay. Well,
somebody
I mean,
was
if this is
somebody
just...
was curious. Somebody was curious and then said like when you were talking about the Gallup poll, you were talking about black people, right? Black Americans thinking, not just Americans in general, right? Thinking
specifically black Americans, yeah.
Right. And what can you cite the source? Do you have that link?
Yeah. Where should I post it?
Post it in chat.
Okay. Just the Twitch chat?
Yeah.
Okay. We have our friend GSU Gambit, who is here. Happy to have him. Thank you, my man, GSU Gambit. I reached out to him. He's been really busy, right? Over these past few weeks, so we haven't had a chance to have him around. So I'm utterly excited to have him here today. GSU, introduce yourself to the audience and then your opinions on all this.
Yeah. So I'm GSU Gambit. Everybody probably already knows me, but yeah, I'm happy to be here, man. It's been a very long time since I could stream, so very happy to be here. But on to the topic. So with Clarence Thomas, I'm not aware of some of the things. I heard you reference the Section 4 of the Voting Rights Act about like if you get to 6th grade, you must have the right to vote and things like that. But I'm not familiar with a lot of his background. So it'd be interesting to hear some of the things that y'all do call out. But in general, yeah, I don't think just because somebody is conservative that makes them Uncle Tom at all. I think the definition that Cook and Joe kind of sort of went through there, like upholding the status quo despite it definitely hurting Black people. I think that's a pretty close working definition that we can use. So yeah, if y'all could explain it a little bit more, maybe he is. I'm not aware of stuff. I thought like what Coffee said. I thought y'all were using Roe v. Wade to like justify that. But if there are other things, yeah, for sure, I would love to hear.
Yeah, I mean,
But,
okay. So,
Yeah, that's what I
are you
thought
familiar
too.
with the Mexico City policy?
Mexico City policy, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with it.
You familiar with it? All right. So, like, for those of you who don't know, it's the gag rule, and basically what it is, it blocks federal funding to NGOs that provide abortion counseling and referrals and other things like advocating to decriminalize abortion and then the expansion of abortion services. So that's something that Donald Trump extended beyond NGOs. And if we understand that the NGOs that might be responsible for abortion counseling might also have advocacy or support in other areas, it's possible to make the conclusion that the expansion of the Mexico City policy could hurt Black people. For example, like we could make the argument that, well, we know this, as abortion clinics get restricted and abortion rights get restricted in the States, abortions outside the United States expand. So it's very easy to kind of make the one for one that the expansion of the gag rule could hurt countries that are affected by tuberculosis, countries that are affected by HIV/AIDS, countries that are affected by unsafe abortions. I think like 77% of the abortions in Africa are considered to be or deemed to be unsafe. So it's possible that the expansion of the Mexico City gag rule could be something that if a Black person's advocating for the expansion of that, could be an Uncle Tom. Because explicitly, I'm saying explicitly it's possible.
How do you feel about this? So I understand that if we are doing things to hurt Black people, inherently for like y'all were saying, like white zaddy and blah blah blah, that's definitely Uncle Tom. But if there's like a difference in values where there's no like true measure of like direct harm, I think it's weird to use those as justifications for when you call Uncle Tom. So there could be somebody that would say like the enterprise of abortion is harmful to Black people, right? So it's a little bit murky to me to use that as an example of like this person is an Uncle Tom as it relates to like abortion rights.
Well, I guess like the point, maybe I can make it a bit cleaner. The point that I was trying to make is that America is the safest country to have an abortion by far. And there are countries and continents like in like Latin America, Africa, that have unsafe abortions. And that we ought to make sure that countries have the ability to bask in the 99% safe abortion rate that America has. And this is in between the years of, I think it's like 2010 to 2014. So like,
that's embedded in a
follow.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's embedded in a system where you think abortion is good, right? Like you've already made moral leaps, right? And I'm not saying that you can't feel that way. I'm just saying that could be lots of Black people that feel different.
Like, okay, if we so like, what do you think the alternative is then? Like, if we understand, I'll just use the stat that I laid out and stay within the realms of the statistic. It's somewhere about 75% of women in Africa have unsafe abortions. So what does banning abortion do for those people who do not feel they have the means to care for that child or might have conditions that might lead to the death of that child?
American legislation. So you're saying that
what does this have to do with like countries in Africa?
Yeah,
I tried to explain how
Black women are going to fly to Africa have unsafe abortions.
No. Because what was why I asked you about the Mexico City policy. the Mexico City policy, and I'll lay it out again, is a policy referred to as a global gag rule that blocks federal funding for non-governmental organizations that provide abortion counseling or referrals advocated to discriminate abortion or expand abortion services. So let's say you have an organization that supports abortion internationally, and let's say their advocacy is within Africa. The blocking.
Yeah, I don't think we use Uncle Tom if we're I think it's like embedded in like American culture, right? Like
but I'm saying that like if there is somebody who is an organization who explicitly is trying to support Black people through abortion advocacy worldwide, and there's a policy in the United States that's blocking that, somebody who says like, "Oh, I vote to suspension of this," as a Black person, I would say is kind of doing some Uncle Tom shit.
I disagree because I don't see how it tracks how you can say, using federal funds, taxpayer money to give it to a non-governmental organization to then go to Africa to then make those abortions more safe in Africa is an Uncle Tom issue. I don't see how that follows.
Yeah, I mean that's okay if you can't follow it. We'll do something simpler. How about that?
No, I can follow it.
Maybe she makes her point clear.
The expansion of law enforcement in the United States. What's your stance on expansion of law enforcement in the United States, Coffee?
What's my stance on that?
Yeah. How do you feel about the law? Should they expand?
Law enforcement?
Should it be bigger?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Probably in Chicago.
Why in Chicago?
Yeah, specifically, I guess, like, there's literally an area in Chicago where cops are not really patrolling people at all. I think that definitely should not happen. So
is the problem cop expansion or patrolling?
That's literally the same thing, right? If they expand their service, then there will be more patrolling.
So So my question is then, do you think there should be more cops patrolling those areas, or should there be more cops?
There should be more cops in those areas, yeah.
So more cops in those areas, but not more cops. Like
in general, in the United States, entire United States, or just specifically that
one area?
I'm saying
in Chicago. So is the problem in this place in Chicago more cops, or more cops in certain areas? Well,
I think embedded in that, you would need to know why the patrolling is low, right? I think you're asking the secondary question again. First, you'd have to know: is the patrolling due to there not being enough people on the force, or not? And then secondarily, you can jump to that and say, well, if you're expanding but you already have enough people, then that's a bad thing, right? But you'd have to understand the dynamics of why they don't patrol in the area that he's talking about. Right?
Sure. What are your thoughts on? I'm trying to think of something that's a little bit more simpler. Do you think the response to the Buffalo shooting was good by the Democrats?
Me? Are you grilling me or somebody else? Yeah, I think it was really good. Yeah, I think it was good.
Really good?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was good.
What was good about it?
I mean, what was not good? What did they do that was wrong?
I'm asking you what they didn't do was wrong. I'm asking you why you think it was good.
Because if there was something bad happen, Republicans would complain about it. And I've not heard any Republicans complain about how other than the Democrats that are saying, of course, we should ban guns or whatever. But I'm sure y'all are for that, right? But
no, I don't think most people.
I want gun expansion, and then to make my gun stance clear. I want the expansion of permits. I want concealed carry in all 50 states.
Okay.
Regardless of where the location is, by the way, including schools.
Okay, well, I mean, when you say Democrats, it's extreme broad point. Are you talking about Beto, or are you talking about?
Well, Joe Biden's in power.
Yeah,
Republicans are not in power.
I think Joe Biden did pretty good.
The president. What did he say that was good though? What did they do that was good?
He did not say anything that was wrong. There was.
What did he do? What did he do that was good?
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to be talking about Democrats overall, we could talk about the guy who runs the city, who is the historical write-in Democrat candidate, Byron Brown. What did he do for the community in his city that was just shot up and targeted because the gunman knew that they wouldn't be able to defend themselves and he planned all this shit out? What exactly did he do? I'll tell you what he did because I live in a city. Zip. It's taking forever to get that store opened up and it's a fucking food desert. Like there are bus lines that are like providing free transportation, not even in the heart of the neighborhoods that use that fucking grocery store. Joe Biden may have done his presidential duty of, shedding a tear on camera and saying sorry, but like,
what is he supposed to do? What is he supposed to do?
I'm not the president.
Okay, why are y'all complaining about Joe Biden?
I'm not even. But like, that's the thing. I just passed it off on Joe Biden.
I was supposed to fight. I want to know what he said. What'd you say, Alex?
Didn't they pass like a small bill about it bipartisanly recently about it, like giving
gun
money?
Legislation? What does gun legislation do to stop white supremacy and somebody overtly targeting a black community?
We're not talking about white supremacy. We're talking about.
Oh, it's not about white supremacy.
But he's talking about it, bro. He's bringing it up.
Yeah, like I don't know why you brought that up out of nowhere. I thought we were talking about.
He's talking about the mass shooting that happened in the.
He asked what the Democrats do good, and I think they addressed the issue. They talked about it. They got some Republicans on board to do a small first steps towards something about gun legislation, like giving money to states if they want to enact red flag laws, which I think is good. I mean, if there's white supremacists that are acting crazy and we can clearly see them, maybe we should check them real quick and like make sure they're not having guns to kill people. I think that's fair.
So if we have a red flag law. And hey, Power, do you remember if that shooter had some type of mental health record?
Yeah, I think so. That kid got caught I think once or twice in school.
What's a cheater?
Violent shit.
Okay.
What do you mean cheater? What cheater?
What about the
shooter?
Shooter.
The shooter. So I guess the question is how do red flag laws stop white people from going into communities outside of their own and blasting black people? How does a red flag do that? Are we saying that all white supremacists?
It was a failure. I mean, there was, from what I'm aware, I think it was the Buffalo. It might have been the Uvalde, but is either one or the other. There was lots of red flags that keep going up, but like the people who are supposed to be mandatory reporters of these types of things, like the teachers and administrators who heard the guy talk about it, just refused to actually do the paperwork to send it through and to actually get him
Whoa, hold on, Joe. The sad fact is, you're right. It was both of them. In both cases, there's an escalation of noticeable signs that, hey, maybe this guy shouldn't get a gun that ran all the way up to the teachers and shit, and it just wasn't passed. So, it goes back to Joe. What exactly do these laws do to prevent this? Again, one of them happened in New York State, one of the states with, the strictest gun laws. So it's
I think we just have to close those loopholes and make it mandatory that these mandatory reporters, like police officers, school counselors, school teachers, therapists, doctors, if they see something, they need to say something. That's like what we learned in New York after 9/11. If you see something, say something. I don't think that people should be able to see someone acting crazy or being a white supremacist and then choose to not report that type of shit. I don't think that's appropriate.
Do you think we can with this path of red flag? I guess the question I have is, which is to the topic about Uncle Tom, how do we legislate white supremacy out? How do we get rid of it?
You can't get rid of it.
Why?
Because
I don't think you can do it legislatively, but I think culturally you can try as hard to make as many people not white supremacists as possible.
Okay, so then here's the question I have. The Ku Klux Klan is in double-digit numbers, but why do we still see and so readily, easily be able to see their propaganda in communities?
Because there's splinter groups that are not KKK, but I think there's still different types of white supremacist groups that took the gap when the KKK fell. And I think we have to go after them. We're going to find them out, call them out, and let them know that just like the KKK, how those pieces of shit were doing crazy shit, we need to talk about these new white supremacist groups and tell them these are just the same as those guys and they're still pieces of shit.
Do you think
I think there are more than double digits of white supremacists in the United States. We just gotta, be able to name and shame and call them out. And then red flag laws, hopefully, if we can prove that they're fucking crazy and criminals and get their guns taken away so they don't shoot people up.
do you think it's the guns that's it? If I snap my finger right now and took every single white supremacist gun away, every single neo-Nazi's gun away, would they still commit violence?
Yeah, but hopefully there's like law-abiding citizens that can stop them at that point because they're not using
what?
guns. With if they're Second Amendment advocates, probably
Their guns?
You can't just stop people.
There was a law-abiding citizen in Buffalo. He got shot. Like, I don't know. Half the time it works. Half the times we get like the Uvaid situation where like them motherfuckers just didn't even go in an unlocked door. So it's like I don't know how to take that argument of like, yo, maybe there's a good citizen. And that's not me being uncharitable and trying to be argumentative. I just don't know.
Obviously, not good guys with guns. Those are.
So I guess the thing is, here's an idea. Here's the thing that I think would combat white supremacy very, very, very quickly. I believe that we should expand the access to the federal government to access citizens' personal interaction online, and those communities that we know explicitly are members that commit crimes publicly. So this could be groups like the Proud Boys, the One Percenters, other neo-Nazi and adjacent organizations. We collaborate with hate group specialists and hate group professionals and people who specialize in white supremacy to create a list. And that list is used explicitly to target people who interact in those internet forums, who interact in those places publicly, and they should be arrested and charged.
So what stops somebody that doesn't use the internet at all, right? And he still hates black people? What stops that person from going to a school and shooting it up like a black school?
I mean, somebody not using the internet at all in this day and age.
I mean, again.
Well, I mean, if they're a KKK member, I mean, they're probably a rural farmer.
My question is, like, do you support the expansion of the FBI and CIA to overtly target white supremacist groups?
Well, can you answer my question that I asked you?
He's talking. I mean, let's think about it logically.
I didn't hear it.
His question is like, what's that going to stop somebody that doesn't use those things that they're looking at?
I mean, we found people from J6 on Greeny cell phone footage and Greeny phone footage. We have we have functional traffic cameras on a lot of intersections, especially on the East Coast. We have financial records. We have support records. So I think it's very easy to find people in 2022 without people who like, quote unquote, do not access the internet, because I don't necessarily think that people's ability to not be on the internet is actually that simple. They had to interface some point in the economy and some point in the political process and social process. So like, I'm sure there's like one person who's never had internet access since he was born, but that person has interfaces and interacts with communities, and you can easily catch people through association even if they don't have internet access.
Yeah, but you also said that, okay, a way we can do that is if they've committed a crime, we can just pull out their background information and just track them, right?
Saying, would you support that? Would you support the expansion of the FBI and CIA to overtly target white supremacists by any means necessary? The same way we did with the communists, the same way we did with the MLs, the same way we did with the socialists.
What
no,
you just said.
I think what they did was a bit overreach and wrong.
Why was it? Was it overreaching and wrong because of the ideology, or overreaching and wrong because of the public surveillance of citizens?
I think they went overboard on the public surveillance, and I think they even, I mean, this is hearsay. I'm not sure if it actually came out in the declassified files, but everyone always talks about how they like assassinated like civil rights leaders because they were thought to be secret socialists and trying to do like crazy co-op propaganda and whatnot and things of that nature. Yeah. So I don't think that we should let like the government secretly, clandestinely just big plots to kill people because they don't like them.
They do it though. So
but it's
they
not
do
that
it,
hard.
and I think that's wrong, and that needs to stop.
Okay, so that would be
that'd be a bridge too far. But I think
a bridge too far.
Okay. Yeah, I think if we know.
Hey, Joe, what are you arresting these white supremacists for?
We should get them out.
Just for being white supremacists, or
basically?
I mean, sure, we can arrest them for being white supremacists.
We'd arrest a lot of black people too.
Black people? Okay. Round up those Uncle Toms then. Let's go.
But aren't you hurting black people though?
We don't even have that much space in the prisons.
No, that's not true. We have a lot of federal prisons that have a lot of open spaces that we can put these people in.
But more than there is racist people? Was a lot more racist people than vacancies.
I'm just wanting white supremacists. I just want white supremacists.
Bro, Joe, I'm not even gonna.
I just don't think that if you're a violent white supremacist, I think you should be surveilled to make sure you're not attacking people. I wouldn't go so far as that we should.
How do we stop them? How do we stop them from not attacking people, though? How do we make sure the behavior that they're doing is unacceptable?
You can't stop them.
We watch them and we stop them from doing crime.
I mean, we can.
No, if somebody wants to kill somebody really bad, they can do it.
Oh Lord. The in-depth answer.
You can prevent that though, Coffee.
You can
you institutionalize people that are mentally ill that you think that will cause harm to themselves or others, right? That's basically the same thing what you're gonna do with white supremacists.
Yeah, Dream, I agree with you. I mean, I think you can prevent them, but I don't think you can actually stop somebody that really wants to do it. And so
how? Hold on. You just said in the same breath you can prevent them and you can't stop them. That's a contradiction.
I mean, like the in-depth answer I think that we can give to Joe Lewis's question is like, how do we stop them without like arresting them full core for just being white supremacists?
Institutionalize them.
No, it's not even that. Unfortunately, we live in America where we have a lot of examples out and commits these mass shootings on schools, grocery stores, churches, and examples. For Joe's, hypothetical CIA organization, double A coup, whatever you want to call it, an answer I would give is like set out some guidelines that cover these bases and then put out your feelers in these white supremacist communities that we all know and hate and talk about. And then when you start seeing motherfuckers post along the same lines, because we have these motherfuckers Reddit threads, we have their manifestos, that's when you start doing all the alarm bell ding ding dings. That's when you start, maybe sending motherfuckers out like, FBI or some shit like that, being like, yo, we want to talk about some shit. Like, we noticed that you're not happy living in America. We noticed that you think immigrants are taking your jobs and that, it's the great white replacement or some shit. Maybe we should do some shit like that. It doesn't have to go expressly from like, just set up this organization to kill them. Like, that's something that could be maybe in the works of like how Joe Lewis's fucking CIA coup would work. I don't know.
I guess the point that I'm trying to make here is because, like, listen, also it's like kind of fun to rile up on a contrarian position, just see how people respond. I understand why Doobie does it. This is toxic as shit. No wonder why it doesn't show his face. I think something that's important is recognizing that maybe the tools that we're using to dismantle white supremacy and the tools that we're doing to actually approach white supremacy might be currently insufficient with what we're currently dealing with. And some people, I'm not saying that anything I said in the past like 20 minutes, what I believe, is that some people believe that we need to go a little bit farther than we currently are doing. Like, there are people, like, especially in anti-fascist groups, as we saw with MX Vivian Wolf, who maybe, not sure, might be in support of making lists of individuals to make sure we understand, like, if you're within certain spaces that you probably should be looked into. I'm not quite there yet, but it's definitely clear that there are people who interact in spaces and they have dangerous rhetoric and they have dangerous ideas, and they understand when they enter in the public space, they can't go that far. They can't go as far as saying that like they're in full support of segregation. They can't say that. They'll get kicked off the platform. But they might make some like arbitrary catering to people are unique and therefore we ought to just be amongst ourselves. And then you get some black people like, yeah, this motherfucker's spitting, and I call that motherfucker who's spitting an Uncle Tom because it's very good.
Well, yeah, Coffee. So do you agree with because I actually like the line of reasoning Joel used, even in his hypothetical. It actually got me thinking that we institutionalize people that are mentally ill that will cause harm to themselves or to others. Why can't we do that for like white supremacists or like future school shooters?
I mean, we do that for a lot of them, right? Like, a lot of people that, I mean, that's why hate speech or hate crime is a thing, right? It's to stop people like that.
Well, hold on. Hate speech is not a thing. Hate speech is not a thing in America.
Okay, well, I guess hate crime is what I meant.
That's in terms of service, hate speech.
Hate crime is something you charge somebody after a crime happens.
Yeah, hate crime is a modifier to a crime.
Well, I mean, I guess I just believe in freedom of speech. I mean, like, I believe in the people.
It's not just freedom of speech, but just like his speech and what he's saying is an indication of harm to others in the future. Like, man, I really hate these, and like niggas, like I'm about to.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
but a lot. To be honest, though, 90% of the time, whenever people say that, they usually don't even end up going. They don't even end up committing those crimes. It's usually those 10% or 5% that end up committing those
But
crimes.
I'm saying the same way we institutionalize somebody that says, "Man, I really hate myself. I wish I wasn't alive." You're like, "Hey, we need to put you in an institution, so make sure you're right."
Okay, so here's a question I have. All right, I'm gonna give you artifacts. I'm gonna give you artifacts in this yard, and I want you in this situation, and we can all participate in this. This is a fun exercise. I love it because
you ain't a teacher here. This
I
is
love
a
it
panel.
because I love it because it's toxic. So I'm gonna in this imaginary yard that's your neighbor. I want you to tell me the point when you're gonna call 911. I'm just gonna name things off, and you feel like you're gonna call 911. Raise your hand. All right.
All right.
A cross in their front yard.
Burning.
You just raise your hand. Raise your hand, okay? A cross in their front yard. A burning cross in their front yard. A sign that says, "No more white guilt." A sign that says, "Go back to Africa." This is in your front yard. Do you see this in plain view?
Because I'm from Africa. Because they talking to me.
Time out. Can I stop you before you continue, Joe? Because this is about to make me. I'm not going to raise my hand simply because I'm not calling the police. I'm just going to move in the middle of the night. When I see that cross, when I see that burning cross, it's called, we calling up my uncle, we calling up my brother.
When he ignites it, you're like,
no.
Time to move.
No, when I see him putting that big ass wooden cross up across my house, it's gonna be like, you know what? Hey, yo, uncle, bro, let's get to the car and like have me move real quick. And I mean quick. We ain't gonna call the police and let them know there's a black living across the street, bro. What do you think it's gonna do to me?
The point that I'm trying to make here is that there are some people who we've actually argued with on Primes before, where they said no matter what apparatus they put in their front yard, they would stay in that community no matter what. This is like a year ago argument at this point when we talked about this topic before. So let's say if there was a black person that made that argument that said no matter what, if they even put a sign that said "kill all darkies" in their front yard, I would preserve their right to say "kill all darkies" in their front yard. Is that an Uncle Tom?
I think most people are against calls for active violence, right? I think if you're okay with calls of violence on the community, yeah, that's like as bad as it can get for sure.
Yeah.
So it's an intimidation technique.
That's not
to do
really
that.
a call for violence, is it? Though that's
Kill all darkies is not a kill.
I do
know
know
what kill
that.
is.
Okay.
That is
Do you
definitely
think
a
kill
call
is
to
physical
violence.
danger?
I think calls to violence have to be more specific. I really do.
Wait. Dream. If somebody had a sign that says "kill Dream," you don't think that's a call for
No,
violence?
that's very specific. So that is.
Well,
a call for violence.
actually,
Kill all darkies. What? Oh.
actually, like on
Wait.
Twitter.
Yeah, how can you?
Maybe it's
Let's
I think I'm thinking semantics. So it's
Yeah,
It's
what's
not
the
no
substantive
bro.
difference?
Right, but Dream,
What's the
I guess the
substantive difference between your neighbor?
Let you handle it.
Yeah, I want to understand what the substantive difference between your neighbor putting "kill all darkies" and like, well, I guess you're like, maybe it's because you're fair skinned and you're like, fuck y'all dark niggas. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Whoa, yo, Gambit, what the fuck is
My
this
neighbor.
right
Assume
now?
it's my neighbor, not your neighbor.
What the fuck is
Imagine
this,
my
Gambit?
neighbor puts up a sign that says "kill all darkies," right?
Wow.
You're funny. Yeah.
You got
No, absolutely, and you would be scared.
you
and that's
would think that
reasonably
was
scared. Yeah.
You would think that was a call to violence on my life, right?
I'm just thinking about legally, like in my
therapy by the end of
like
this.
So you
legally.
think legally
because-
this is okay?
No, I'm saying legally because you know how the First Amendment says you
Wait,
can't make
you think
threats.
the First Amendment allows you to put signs up that says "kill all darkies" and just
I do.
broadcast?
Well,
I don't-
I remember on
does it?
Twitter there was "kill all
I don't
men."
think it
Hashtag
doesn't,
kill
right?
all men. So I mean, I remember that. So I mean,
That's a good point to bring up. Actually, if you're allowed to say "kill all men," I don't see why "kill
I
all
don't
black
think-
people" wouldn't be allowed.
Right, but I guess the
I don't
question
think
I
you're allowed
have,
to say these things.
I mean, the
I don't
question
think-
I have, the question I
think
have
people
overtly,
think it's like not literal.
right, but I guess the question I have is that if there was a black person who overtly defended the sign "kill all darkies" in someone's yard and said they're okay with them putting up that sign in their yard, Are they?
Why are you
Uncle
talking
Tom?
about Dream? Why are you talking about Dream?
Yeah, that's
That's
the
the
Uncle
fuck-
Tom.
No,
right there.
Y'all need to stop with this bad faith
You're
shit,
funny.
bro. It's chicanerous and disrespectful.
I love
Fucking
my
funny as shit though.
It is
Funny
hilarious.
as fuck.
So like,
No,
so I think,
it's definitely wrong to do, and I think nobody should do it. But
It's
in terms of
definitely
like
illegal,
the First
for
Amendment, I don't know.
It's definitely
I
illegal,
really,
to be clear.
I really don't know. If
It's without a question illegal.
I don't know if it is because
Go do it.
because I don't want to.
Bro, you can't call for violence, bro. You can't just say kill.
But I don't know.
Actually, Dream,
The law's going to
Dream,
protect that.
Dream,
Wait,
I would
wait.
say, Dream, we are not professionals here, and we are currently in a video game.
Nick,
If you're
what?
playing GTA 6 and it's an option to make signs, I say try that on your
No,
save screen in
shut up,
GTA
Joe.
6, and see
Shut
which
up.
Republican and or Ender Nax defends you.
Shut the
Gotcha.
fuck up, Joe.
Okay, but
can I tweak
here's
this
a good question.
hypothetical a
Here's
little
a good
bit?
question though. Like Io really
Sure.
brought up a good question. Like if we're allowed for kill all men,
I don't think that's allowed. Where is this allowed?
It's on Twitter. It's a
I'm
popular.
pretty sure people are.
No, how dare you? It's
It's
abolish
on
men.
Twitter,
That is a
wait,
different
wait.
policy prescription with different practices and procedures. Abolish men
wait.
and kill all men are different policy prescriptions.
Yeah, they're
Time out,
different.
I say
time out.
abolish men.
Wait. If we're gonna talk about Joe Lewis's hypothetical of like the neighbor
me bring
putting
up a
up the
tweet
sign, no, we're not gonna bring up
We can't
tweets and
compare
shit. We not gonna compare it to some online I don't touch grass
Yeah,
bullshit.
exactly,
That is,
bro.
that is
That's why.
not what we're gonna do on this
Oh,
panel.
so
Okay,
so
Joe
a
was
tweet
talking.
where millions of people can see it versus a few people, tens. on
You
your
know what I can
stream.
do?
Less of a
Time
call
out,
to
time out,
violence?
time out. Wait, Gambit, let me get this. You know what I can do right now to erase the harm from Twitter that it does to my soul? I can click the little X in the fucking right hand of the screen and
You can
exit
also
the
close
window.
your eyes when you're walking by the streets.
No, I fucking can't, nigga. Because if I do that, I'm gonna get hit by a car.
No,
I'm gonna
just
run
walk
into
on
a
the
tree.
street. Walk on
I've
the
done this
sidewalk.
before.
No, bro,
Walk
bro,
on
come
the
on.
sidewalk.
Okay, then just
Walk.
Oh, I
If
gotta
I
pay this.
open
That's
it,
weird.
hold
Let
up.
me
Time out.
try to reach you.
If I open my door and the dude in front of my house on the other side of the street has a sign that says "Kill all darkies," that is in no way comparable to
gotta
someone
do
on
this.
Twitter. I gotta do this. Shut the fuck up.
First of all, when you see on Twitter, you already saw it. So all you're doing about the X is saying, "Oh, I don't want to see it
Wait.
again." So you already saw it.
Bro, but that
Wait,
doesn't have the same
Is
impact
Dream
of knowing
okay
there's
to do this?
Nah, like that doesn't have the same impact of knowing that there's someone in my neighborhood that's putting out that message that all people like you should die. Twitter is a random cabal of a bunch of niggas from across the world who I don't care about. Y'all are entertainment to me at work on Twitter. That's what you're all. My neighbors, that is someone who can possibly have a direct influence on my life. If they posting some racist shit in real life and they burning crosses like Joe Lewis jumped to for some reason, I may not call the police because personally, I live in a country where I recognize that not only do they not hit white supremacy in those groups as hard as they do leftists, Black Panthers and shit like that, they just ain't gonna take me seriously. So I'm gonna covertly do my own shit to get the fuck out. And that's what I wanted to shift it to. Instead of hiding behind the law, where do you take action? And I mean like non-violent, get the fuck out. Where do you decide like, yo, maybe I have to like, hop, skip it and do the fuck out of here, stay in another place. It's like, how far are you willing to let that go? Because Joe Lewis was going up examples, putting the cross in the yard.
Let me be
Well,
clear.
if somebody
Let
said
me be
that,
clear. I personally don't think people should have the right to just say kill darkies and put it on your yard. I personally don't. But I'm talking
Damn,
about,
that had to be said. Thank you.
no, I mean, obviously, logically, that's what I was saying. I'm just saying I was being descriptive about the current system as it works right now. I don't know if it's allowed or not. That's all I'm saying. First Amendment, I don't know. If
I
it's
don't
allowed.
care. I don't give a fuck, bro. If it's
Okay,
allowed
cool.
in the First Amendment and someone puts up a sign that says kill all the darkies in America, bro, I'm getting the fuck out. Cool. It's your First
That's-
Amendment to say that. It's my
Amen.
First Amendment to move the fuck away.
Absolutely. We're in agreement here.
Oh man, I am so glad that
Joe
I won't
Lewis
be able
fucking
to-
bailing out of his own hypothetical like
I'm
a bum.
so glad I won't be able to monetize this on YouTube. Thank you so much for killing that.
You're
but-
welcome.
We'll get you on the R. Kelly. We'll get you on the R. Kelly.
God bless.
But okay, yeah.
Damn, it's really that easy to be toxic on a panel, huh?
We somehow
Damn.
got from Roe v. Wade and his uncle Tom Clarence
Sorry,
Thomas
Prime.
or whatever
I
the
don't know how
fuck
we
to
got
all
here.
the way to
I really
this.
don't know.
So here's the thing, Prime. I think there's an important message here, and that is to make sure that Black people are gainfully employed for all 12 months of the year. That way, they don't have to go on panels and railroad and derail panels. So I would say a good prescription is that people should subscribe to you because they see in me the dangers of 2 months of being unemployed and 2 months of unemployment. I've been out of school since Thursday of last week, and look at me, I'm already a radical. So be sure to hit the sub button because in that way you'll prevent another Black person going down the expansion CIA FBI pipeline.
All I'm gonna say on this issue, and maybe we can get it back on topic, is that like if Clarence Thomas in not the mediocre court, not the okay court, not the court corral, the Supreme Court, he's going to sit up there and make decisions that have impacts on legislations, not just on Black people, but women across the country. And we know how this fucking country runs when it, takes away rights. It targets the marginalized first. And he upholds that system. Well, by golly gee, by the definition we set on this panel, I guess he's a fucking Uncle Tom. I'm sorry about that.
Look at him. Has this man ever looked happy in his life? He does not look like he's having fun.
I will tell you one thing about Clarence Thomas. The first time I saw him, this man has carried so much hate in his heart. And I just want to know who hurt him? Who in his life scarred this person so emotionally? He's just like, I'm going to take it out on everyone.
Background, actually. And I believe he's adopted.
No. It explains everything.
Look. It's interesting. Yeah, I'm because thinking about our buddy Joe Lewis here. No, I'm almost certain that he's adopted, and he has a background like you wouldn't expect with his like Uncle Tom type rulings. He has like this like pro-Black background that you absolutely positively would not expect of him. So like look into Clarence Thomas. He's actually
we need to figure out what happened and where like the TVA came in and took our Clarence Thomas, who was based in fucking, awesome pilled, and replaced him with like evil Clarence Thomas. He's just like, happened. Yo, fuck everyone.
I know what happened.
Maybe he was a separationist.
I'm gonna tell you what happened, all right? It was a wedding. It was probably a wedding just of a sibling, all right? And since he's adopted, the electric slide played, and he didn't know what to do. And then he just started dancing.
It was the Cupid shuffle.
And then he got clowned by every single person in his community. And then the wobble came on, and he didn't know what to do.
Wobble, baby, wobble, baby.
It's not even he didn't know what to do. He was just really offbeat for no reason.
And it's okay. There are plenty of songs and communities that will test your racial identity. For Latino people, it's Suavemente. For Black people, it's house music and pretty much
It's also Suavemente.
also Suavemente. For white people, it's Mr. Brightside. But because the bar for dancing for white people is so low, it's just a very clear. It's like a hop. It's a hop of offensive.
It's also Sweet Caroline.
No,
this is very true.
Hold on one second.
Before we get hot skipped on memes, I just want to point out B-More does post a good counter argument to the whole Uncle Tom thing. When you actually read his decision on one of the recent gun legislations that the Supreme Court ruled on, he does go in depth in listing all of the anti-Black fucking gun laws in this country. Does that make him not an Uncle Tom? I don't know. He is well read though. I'm not going to sit here and call him stupid though. That's the thing for me. He did do that. Reading that bill, reading the decision by the Supreme Court, he laid out a pretty good case why overturning New York's fucking shit is, a good idea. New York's going to hit back with that, but it was a good case. He laid out all of the reasons why, especially from the pro-Black stance, and he utilized that to his advantage. I don't know.
Yeah, hey, can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Just because I wasn't here at the beginning, does everybody on the panel, what's y'all general opinion on the question about can somebody be Black and conservative and not be an Uncle Tom? Do y'all think inherent to being conservative is an Uncle Tom, or
I don't think so.
Every African is an Uncle Tom. If that's your definition.
Clip that. Send it. Cancel this man.
Can you raise our hands if Joe did? Can you raise your hand if you think just because you're conservative, you're definitely an Uncle Tom?
Don't do that. He's
Anybody
asking
believe
you to
that?
raise your hand if you
Nobody
stupid.
said that. Yeah.
He's asking you to raise your hand if you stupid. That
Oh,
no.
nobody thinks. Okay, good. Oh no, you do think it.
I'm stupid. I was just joking.
No, but
with
Pyro,
Pyro.
I think we can agree that black people are put in like a precarious position in America, so we can have a lot of stances that are like inconsistent with like what liberals believe and what conservatives believe. And I think like just because Democrats passed civil rights, they feel like, yeah, we figured them out. And it's like, have you though? and
No,
then,
I think that's why I'm iffy to say like, yo, all conservative black people are Uncle Toms, because that's just not true. There are people I know personally who are way fucking more conservative than me, but like, goddamn, they still want to uplift this country in some type of way that, at the very least, uplifts black people, and overall uplifts like the majority of Americans. So like, I can't look at these somewhat conservative people and be like, oh, you are an Uncle Tom. Like, nah.
And then what are we basing conservative on? Are we basing conservative on like the observation of like liberalism in America? Not to get too fucking like like Black Noam Chomsky here, and well, there's a certain statistical analysis of people in the community. But like, I think it's like if we're basing our conservatism on America, I think it's kind of, I don't know, it just kind of does a service to what black people believe. I think because like we're kind of putting a system, like a political system and social process that we didn't really have a say in for considerable chunks of history, and then we had to act surprised that like certain black people feel this way. You know what I mean? It's like if I understand that JLP was a son of a sharecropper, everything he says makes sense. Everything he says makes sense. The overt,
Who's
like
JLP?
supporting.
Justine Pearson.
Yeah.
And before you continue, I'm fact checking myself. He's not adopted, but he had to move in with his grandparents after like his house burned down. Like his father left him, left their family. I'm talking about Clarence Thomas, and then his mother was raising them, but their house burned down. Then he had to move in with their grandparents. I think that's what I was thinking of when he was adopted. But like, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess it's just like, yeah, I think that, like black people are kind of put in the position where electorates want, like, the electorate, each party wants the electorate of the minority group. Like Democrats want the blacks, Republicans want the blacks. But then when it's finally like, okay, how do we make sure that like we do good by this electorate? Both parties are kind of fucked it up. And then the only thing that Democrats can hold up, and they hold it up like this really like ugly looking carrot, it's like, well, we gave you guys civil rights, right? And it's like, I mean, yeah, but those people keep stripping it and you don't do anything about it. And it's like, no, but we gave this to you though. And it's like, and you get people who kind of like hop along, like, yeah, this is good. But then you get a lot of black people like, you see this shit? And then you get Twitch streamers like, Phil, vote blue, vote blue.
See, for me, it's not even the shit of like, but we gave it to you. That's insulting. It's the shit where it's like, yes, we did give this to you almost a lifetime ago. However, we have not had power since to actually make sure that it's going to stay there. Same thing with Roe v. Wade. We actually haven't had power in the 50 years that we had this case to make sure it's going to be put into law so they can actually do this. We'll just hold it like this carrot that you have to jump for every voting season. Like, oh, make sure you do this. Oh. Like, they've been doing it forever, and it finally fucking caught up with them. Someone else snatched the carrot. I don't know what to say.
And oh, sorry, go for a coffee. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, I mean, you said that they didn't have any power to keep Roe v. Wade to stand, but like, if they don't really have that much power, then like, why did it take 50 years for Roe v. Wade to be reversed?
No, that's what they're saying. You're pointing out like my point. They keep saying they don't have the power every time it comes along, every election season. Yet it's been 50 fucking years. You know how many seasons of Doctor Who that is, my brother? It's a lot. You know how many Star Wars movies that is? A lot. So when they say, oh, we haven't had the power, you need to do exactly what you just did when you thought you were talking to me and call their bullshit. Because you have had the power. You've had since Jimmy fucking Carter. That nigga's 91. So I don't want to hear that they haven't had the power. I wonder. I want to ask them why they just kept doing this. Like, why did they keep having the carrot?
Like 50 years is the combined age of all of R. Kelly's 5 girlfriends. It's like crazy, bro. It's like so much time. No pedo jokes? All right, got it. Went over the head.
Anyway,
I'll be better with my comedy.
Yeah, sure. All right. Well, this is sorry. This is super weird. So I just for the remaining time. Okay. So we were talking about conservatives. Black conservatives, can absolutely help a white supremacist power structure. I don't think that simply having conservative values equals that like every time, right? Like it depends on how you're conservative. Um, like you know, in what ways, right? Uh, our friend Fanatic described himself as a conservative, but I wouldn't call him an Uncle Tom. I don't think he would be. I think if you just talk to him, he specifically is talking about dismantling the white supremacist infrastructure. So it actually matters. Like, so it's not. So this isn't a blanket statement, and I'm sure that people have made statements like that in the past. Actually, I know they have, right? In terms of black conservatives, yeah. But that's not what we're doing here. We're talking about a specific individual who's made specific choices, right? Very public choices that have large scale ramifications. Clarence Thomas has made black people's lives worse. He's actively done that through his decisions, through his utterances, right? Through the causes that he supports. Hell, like him and his fucking wife, or at least I'll just say his wife, right? Evidence his wife was helping Donald Trump, with the January 6th insurrection, and then he protected her. In one of his rulings. Like he is immoral. He is, I think, an overall detriment to society. And if a person like him cannot be called an Uncle Tom, then the word really has no meaning. It has the term like truly means nothing if we can't apply it to a disgusting person like him.
Like he's not just like some manager at a KFC or like Supreme Court, not the mediocre court, not the okay court, the Supreme Court. Like, bro, when can I use the word if not for a dude who sits on the one black guy who sits on the Supreme Court and is just like the angriest dude ever in my life.
How dare you? There's two now.
No, he said dude.
Oh, this is
well, she didn't know how to define those type of things anyway. So maybe
she knew how to define it. Okay, let's relax.
I don't know. In the context of the question, a black woman, but I don't even know what a woman is. Y'all should get disrespected.
All right. So I do agree. She should have just doubled down.
Okay.
Yeah, I do agree. She should have just doubled down and been like, "Why do you think I don't know what a woman is?" And then just made it really weird and just went down that realm of weirdness. But she's trying to secure the seat. She's trying to secure the seat.
I know this is the problem. Well, I don't want to go back.
She should be a piece of shit. She should be a piece of shit and make sure it's explicitly clear in some type of decision that has nothing to do with it. And just be like, let me write this dissent. Like, why? There's nothing to do. I'm just going to write some analogous comparison to women, define women, and then just like, I don't know, I'm being toxic. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, so I just want to. It seems like we reached the end of this conversation, so I'm going to move on. All right. To my audience, if you're enjoying this content so far, thanks so much for being here. Hit that follow button. If you haven't done so yet, hit that follow button. Make sure notifications are on so you know I'm going live videos all the time. I think we're having pretty good content here. So if we do this all the time, don't miss out on any of it. If you, again, haven't hit that follow button yet. Exclamation social and chat for the rest of our social media. We got Twitter, let you know what's going on Twitter. So hit us up on Twitter, keep up with the channel. Discord, everything happens on Discord. This conversation happens on Discord. We have text conversations, everything is a hardness with the community. Please be a part of our Discord. TikTok is where you'll find funny videos like from this from the channel, and then YouTube is where you find the VODs. If you missed anything, hit up our YouTube. Help us out there, right? By like, comment, subscribe, and consider becoming a YouTube member, hitting that join button in case you haven't done so yet. Wolf Glenn, thank you for the gift sub. Hey, not nice. And Zelexio, thank you for also gifting a sub. Thank you. Paying forward a gift sub you just got from Wolf Glenn. That's really kind of you. Thank you, Wolf Glenn, for the kindness, and Zelexio as well for helping out the community. And then Z Somewhere gets the sub. Oh, to Serenus. Hey. Because of that, we are in a level 1 hype train. Can we get to level 2 hype train? Support this community, support the channel. If you like this content, like what we're trying to do, that the fact that we're always here, always providing you something, right? And then we are a
have
reliable
puppies.
channel. And we have puppies, right? So 50% done in terms of our level 1 hype train, 50% left. Can we get to level 2 hype train? Subs to the channel, give bits or give subs with Glenn. Wants to get to level 2. You get the 5 subs. Thank you, Wolf Glenn. For 5 subs, Wolf Glenn has been a really kind supporter. 25 subs in total to the channel. Thank you, Wolf Glenn, for the help. That puts the level 2 hype train. Can we get to level 3 hype train? Is that a possibility? I don't know. But yeah, guys, if you like this content, if you like having this space here, I'll black everything that we put on for you on the regular. Then help us out with this hype train. 25% done, 75% left, 4.5 minutes on the clock. Can we make a subsidy channel? $5. One takes $5. Use your Amazon Prime Prime Gaming on this community, right? You get 1 free sub per month. Use that 1 free sub here on this channel if you enjoy the things that we're doing, or you just find it interesting. You might hate me, but like if you find it interesting and still want more of it, then subs to the channel. Consider gifting subs like Wolf Glenn has done, and he literally just multiplied his money because someone else decided to pay that sub forward. Or resub. Resubs also count to moving this along. Thank you, Rebranded Hand for the 300 bits. Okay, that puts us at 33%, 67% left. Can we make it to a level 3 hype train? We're moving along. Kamikaze gifting 500 bits. Thank you, Kamikaze. Oh, wow. Homeroom Smooth. Hey, thank you, Homeroom. Gifting 5 tier 1 gift subs to the channel. Thank you. 19 subs in total. We like Smooth. Smooth's a good guy. Thanks for that. And then Desperado Sensei gifting us up to Pyro Tyrant. All right, thank you for my for my missing mod here, right? Pyro Tyrant, thank you for supporting him that way. And Waterkai gifting 100 bits. Thank you so much. Because of all that kindness, we're a level 3 hype train. Kai's can we make it to level 4? Can we make it? I don't know. This is a surprise hype train, so I'm not positive what's happening. Wolf Glenn gives another 5 subs. Thank you, Wolf Glenn, for the 5 hot tier 1 gift subs to the channel. 30 in total now, putting us at 64%. Also, Wolf Glenn gifted some previously, like before the hype train started. 64% of a level 3 hype train. Can we make it level 4? This is a big surprise. Was it 40? No, 32. 36. Fuck, 36% left. I know math. Shut up. 36% left. Less than 4 minutes on the clock. Z somewhere says, "Love A."
When are we gonna get some? When we get some ABE emotes
of
our favorite moments.
Of our favorite moments. What would that include?
We need a Primus Legend one for sure. I think he deserves one. We need the blackface Destiny one. I think that would be a good banger. So anytime when people don't feel included on the panel, they can just use that emote to express their take. That way we pay attention to it.
We need
don't
a peace
do that.
fam. We need a peace fam.
We need a "you're not listening to me."
You're not listening to me. That's actually a good one. No, that's a super good one.
We need Angry B more with his guns, just like defending them, just for like all our gun lovers out there. We can't exclude them.
We need a Dan's game, but it's just B More's face.
Oh, we definitely need a ban wiggle emote, because fuck that.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's
Wait.
he's de facto banned.
Ban and unban.
Bro, he's not banned yet.
No,
we need to get it done. Get him banned, bro. Hashtag, yo, get them, Prime subs in right now if you want to ban Wiggle. Like, I don't see enough people paying to ban Wiggle out there. Like, what the fuck's going on? Yeah, there we go.
Wolf Glenn is being extremely generous. Wolf Glenn, thank you for supporting this community. Guy,
thank you for supporting the ban Wiggles community.
15 plus subs. I forget how many subs you gifted previously before the hype train, but 15 plus subs just today. Thank you, Wolf Glenn, for powering these hype trains, for helping us out. Thank you for the kindness. Z Somewhere says that ABE is their favorite show of mine. PrimeCayes, dude, you need some more emotes, though. Okay, yeah, fair enough. I think it's pretty fair. I think that's actually very fair criticism of me. All right, I'll take that. Because of the other kindness, we're a level 4 hype train. Everyone's kindness here. Level 4 hype train. 9% done. 91% left. Can we make it to a level 5 hype train? I really wasn't expecting this hype train at this moment. You guys all know when I usually do these things. But it's a very pleasant surprise. Guys, can we get to a level 5 hype train? 4.5 minutes. Just 4 minutes left on the clock. Is it a possibility? Subs to the channel. Helps us out so much.
I'm just
keeps us
saying.
up and running. Subs to the channel, gift bits, or gift subs. Primus Legend emote. I don't even know what I would do. What would that even look like? I don't even.
You know what it will look like. You know what it looked like, Prime. Let's not play around.
What? All right. People will think I'm talking about myself. Like if I made an emote like that.
I mean, there's so many options. There's the chaotic. When he put his phone up to the screen, you can just like do an animated hand of a phone to a screen. There's so many options.
There's the MVP Joe Lewis.
I don't need any.
Wait, y'all not gonna talk.
People think my hair is a wig. Don't give them that energy. Don't give them that power.
Y'all not talking bad about my boy, man.
All I'm saying,
Hey, wig
we got 3 minutes left on this hype train, and the quicker we get to it, the quicker I can yell at these niggas about R. Kelly, because I know someone gonna say some dumb shit.
We got the solo female representation, Jay Cook.
Per usual.
Jay Cook should have her own
We
emote.
definitely.
I only got one question for y'all.
It should be an empty pot because you don't cook. Cook's not a
True.
Right?
What about?
I want to take my gifted sub back.
No, don't do that. No, Jay Cook.
Can we do what if we use this time for a bonus topic? I have a bonus topic.
Go ahead.
What happens when Kevin Durant goes to the Suns? Is he officially a traitor or a snake?
He's trying to go to the Lakers with
really?
with
They
Kyrie.
lose to the Warriors. That's what happens.
Yo, we saw
Hey, yo,
this girl.
Wolfman is evil.
Wow.
Wolf Glenn is trying to get.
Bro.
He's trying to get a visit from Brian.
Yo,
Wolf
one
Glenn trying to get a visit.
Wolf Glenn knows
is
what's
trying
up.
to bribe me on to get on this
He's
panel.
trying
I
to
don't know
get some
what color-
sloppy top.
No,
from
no,
Brian.
I know
Like,
exactly
this
what
kind
it
of money.
is. Like I said, band Wiggle, he donates. I said, yo, let's get it started. He donates. He listens to the Wizard of Weed because he knows what's in the cloud of fortunes, bro. That's what we call a true patriot, right?
Wizard of Weed.
My boy wants a private visit.
Yeah, apparently, right? Like this guy.
I'm gonna come down your chimney and drop a little weed by your table. Don't worry.
Let's go. We have 90 seconds left. And because Wolf Glenn, we were at 90%. Oh,
Yeah.
and-
Let's go.
no, excuse
Level
that.
5.
See somewhere. Gets 4 or more subs, excuse me, putting us at level 5 hype train. 56 subs total. Thank you. Z somewhere. Really kind of support. Desperado Sensei gives the sub to Leah. Hey, thanks for giving that sub to Leah. Right, 154 subs total from Desperado Sensei. All right.
Oops.
We are at 18% of a very much surprised level 5 hype train. Right? I didn't think anybody was on the line here actually. So this is really great. Thank you so much. We're at 18%. Was it 88% left? 92. Fuck. I know math. Shut up. And GSU.
GSU coming at it again with the band Wiggle. Come on,
Black
folks. Let's
streamers
get
supporting black streamers. We
Wiggle
love to see it.
out of here.
We
to
love
see
to
Band
see it.
Wiggle.
GSU supporting so much he did like the Instagram black square, right? With his camera there. That's the thing.
I'll be back in just a second. I had to run downstairs.
No problem. But thank you, GSU, for the kind 10 subs.
And
258
Cory
total.
Booker. Yeah.
Paying forward a gift sub that he got from Doobie, right? Hey,
Cory
Doobie, thank you
Booker.
for helping him out. Because of that, we're so close. 69%, right? We're at the sex number. Okay, I get it, right? Never mind. We're not at the sex number anymore because Wolf Glenn gets another 5 subs, 50 subs altogether. Thank you, Wolf Glenn, for that 5 subs.
Jeez.
6% left, right? I know we get into a maximum hype train. I know it's happening right now. I feel the power, right? Someone help us out. GSU is helping us out with getting another 100 bits, putting us at 95%. 5% left. I know we can make this. Let's make this happen. Finish off. Gives a maximum hype train. We have not one of those in a while, right? A maximum hype train. Can we make it? Substitute channel gift bits. Anonymous Chair gifts helps us out with 500 bits. Thank you, Anonymous Chair. I don't know who you are, but you're beautiful. We did it. So thank you all for that support. I didn't see it coming. Really, I didn't see that coming. But it's much appreciated. Allows me to do this. Allows me to put this on. Allows me to gather these individuals. Hello, Joe, the Silly Sears, who has been so kind. Paying for the sub they got from Doobie. I'm not sure Doobie even still here. I'm like shouting this person out. But I don't think they even still here. Doobie, thank you for gifting us up to our friend Joe, the Silly Sears. And then Joe, thank you for paying forward that sub, gifting it to Progressive 84. Thank you. 105% of level 5 hype train. Thank you all for that level of support. It allows me to do this, allows me to keep coming back and providing you with this level of content. All right. And the hype train is not over. You can keep helping out, outside of that, either inside the hype train or outside of the hype train. It's always very much appreciated. So thank you for the ones who are helping out. Got to get the whole way. Thank you so much, Joe, for that kindness. All right, so we're going to continue on with the content. I didn't think we would have this, but this is really kind. We'll continue on. We'll go to our next topic. Topic 2. The mega superstar R. Kelly has been sentenced to 30 years in prison for sex trafficking. The singer has been controversial, thank you, Adam, right, for a long time due to previous allegations of misconduct. But despite overwhelming evidence, his fans continue to support him and attack his victims. Is there a toxic fan culture that protects abusers? If so, is it especially pernicious in the Black community where we may try to protect someone from perceived injustice by white society? Or are fans right to zealously defend their idols from cancel culture that judges people too harshly and too quickly? So R. Kelly in prison, 30 years. I'm excited. So justice being done there, in my opinion. But still, he has a lot of supporters, a lot of people in his corner. And he's not the other one, right? So R. Kelly is just the one that inspired this, but we have other Black celebrities. We got Bill Cosby. I wanted Fanatic on for this, but I don't know what happened. But we got Bill Cosby. But we also have people who weren't necessarily convicted, like what's his face, the dancer and the singer,
Jussie Smollett,
Max Rihanna.
Chris Brown.
Chris Brown. Yes, Chris Brown. Who keep hearing more rumors about him and women.
First of
right?
all, have you watched the documentary on Chris Brown?
No, I haven't watched the documentary.
It clears up a lot of confusion.
But anyway, we'll get to, so the point is that there's more than one, right? Here. And when these things happen, the defense is intense. So I'm wondering, does this make sense, or are we just like keeping abusers safe? All right, we'll start with our friend Joe Lewis.
I actually had like some, I don't know, issues with the question. Kind of like the premise that the question is trying to present. Like, yeah, like stan culture is a thing, like we as people might put ourselves in situations where we blindly defend celebrities and blindly defend people who we're passionate about. I don't know what the injection of race does, because like we can point to so many celebrities that have stan cultures regardless of their race and or whatever it is. Like you still like, even like think about with Johnny Depp, right? We went through this whole situation where people are calling Amber Heard a liar, despite the fact that the court found both people liable for the very thing in the first place. But then you get all the stands saying like, well, she only got 2 million and Johnny got 18. Therefore, his 18 beats her 2. And it's like, they both defamed each other. Move on. And like, what do we like? I don't know. That's the part that I'm kind of stuck on. I don't think that there's some like deep desire of Black people defending other Black people from white supremacy and the injustice of the world. Like I don't like, because of celebrity. It's nonsense. We lock niggas up wholesale, and the system doesn't protect these niggas wholesale. So it doesn't matter like how hard you stand R. Kelly. That fucker was fucked. Like same thing goes with Michael Jackson. Like, and everyone's like, "Well, black people defended Michael Jackson," and I'm like, "Okay, nigga, here's a shovel. You want to dig him up and arrest him? I'll get the crew, and then I'll make sure they're all paid and they have all the food that they want, and we can all dig up Michael Jackson together and put that dead piece of shit to trial. If that's what you want to do, I'm for it. But at the end of the day, I think like there's a thing that stand culture. People we defend our celebrities that we care about because deep down we treat them like the way we see them in their movies. But clearly, like none of you would defend Ezra Miller. But then at the same time, like you probably wouldn't defend R. Kelly. You wouldn't defend Michael Jackson. It's like It's just I don't know. It's stand culture has always been the problem. I don't really see the injecture of like saying that like because stand culture exists and toxic fans exist somehow because that's true. That means it permeates in the black community. So I'm not really sold on that connection. But yeah, that's all I got for now.
Okay. I'm glad that Joe is keeping his mouth clean so I can monetize this on YouTube. Thank you so much, Joe, for that. Okay, we'll go next to Coffee Politics, please.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Joe Lewis for the most part. I mean, like, it's not really a race thing. Like, of course, I guess you could kind of see it as a race thing because black people tend to be more conservative than other races, right? So maybe there's like more black people that tend to not really believe women or tend to or I guess they may be believing R. Kelly because of their conservative beliefs. But I mean, other than that, yeah, it's not really a race thing. And also, yeah, I don't think the fans are defending R. Kelly are of course wrong. Yeah, he definitely deserves to be locked up. So not much I can say.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to Isle. Let me second now. If you're working on it, then we can get back to you. All right, so let's go to Pyro while you're waiting.
I'm gonna mimic a lot of what Joe Lewis said, but a bit more clear. No, I don't think this is a uniquely black issue of black people coming to bat for the against the hegemon of white supremacy. I think this is stan culture. If we look at almost every fucking celebrity who's had a whoopsie doodle or they've done some horrible shit like R. Kelly, you have their legions of fans who, you can't believe that there are people like this, but they will defend them. You have it with the Johnny Depp situation where Joe Lewis is right. The courts found both of them motherfuckers guilty of being abusive. It was just, the libel was the issue. So when we look at that, yeah, there are motherfuckers that supported Johnny Depp. There are motherfuckers that supported Amber Heard throughout this. We look at other cases like the Marilyn Manson case that's going on at the same time that not many people know about. The same thing. You got all of his fucking, fans who have been listening to his music for years, building this image in their head. And then they defend this motherfucker and they throw every excuse at the book. It's not a thing with just, black people trying to protect themselves from, the injustice by white society. Like, it's stan culture. Every celebrity has this. Every micro celebrity has this. How many times has Destiny done some fucked up shit and then you have all of his rabid little DGGers running to support him? Yep. Same thing goes for Vosh. Same thing goes for all of these streamers. Like, it happens on every level. If you a person that people look up to and they listen to and they idolize does something wrong, there is a section of the fan base that are going to do everything they can to defend them because in a way it makes them look bad if they can't, internalize that like, yeah, he did something wrong. I'm still going to enjoy shit though. And that's what like a lot of the black community did for a long time. They knew R. Kelly did this shit. They were just like, yeah, he's got some good fucking vibes though. We had it on a panel here a couple months, not months, but like a year ago, like where it's like, yeah, a lot of people said, yeah, he's done this, but the music's a bop. It's stan culture.
Isle, are you ready?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with everyone, with Joe Lewis and Wizard here. I think stan culture can be toxic. I think that, not every culture has a specific way that, you always rush to defend, like who you stan. They have different standards depending on like the different areas. Because I know like in certain Asian cultures, it's different how celebrity works and whatnot with idol culture. Um, so I think it's just how people like to be a part of their fandom. That like that it gives them a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging and community because they're all sharing in the joy that their favorite person is doing things, and they form parasocial relationships, and that can sometimes get toxic when they can't internalize that just because someone you like is doing something wrong doesn't mean that you're a bad person for liking what they're their artistry. um and so it's kind of hard to separate sometimes, and I think that's where it becomes toxic. But I don't think this is like necessarily just a black people thing. I think this is everybody.
Okay, let's go to Jay Cook.
I'm gonna be quick. I actually have to jump. I'm so sorry. But yeah, I agree a lot with what everyone else is saying. I think it's not particularly unique to the Black community. This type of fandom. There, it. I think where it gets, for me, the question, the last question actually was, I was kind of like debating whether not that it made sense, but that like there should be a definition between cancel culture. And I think in this case, it's R. Kelly was convicted, and there's like proof of him sex trafficking young women and girls. And that's there's a difference between like he said, she said, cancel culture, and someone actually being convicted, like in this case, where there's actual proof. But yeah, I'm sorry, I have to go.
All right, well, thanks for being here, Jay Cook. Hopefully, we'll have you again in the future. Have a good one, buddy.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, let's go to GSU Gambit.
Yeah, so like everybody said, there is this fan culture that protects idols. I don't think this is particularly black. There's a guy you all may have heard of by the name of Elvis Presley. At 24 years old, met a 14-year-old girl and was apparently had to compose himself because he couldn't contain himself around her. He then later returned her late, and her parents were upset about it. He went on to marry her and have a kid by her. So people protect all type of sick ass people. And R. Kelly is just that. He's a very sick ass person. I'm hoping that the Fed case, he get 2,000 years. We all saw R. Kelly have, well, I don't know if y'all are my age, but we all saw R. Kelly have sex with a 14-year-old girl while I was 14 years old. So the nigga's a predator. He's a monster. He's disgusting. So yeah, very happy he's going to jail. Anyone like him should go to jail. I understand people that want to separate like the art from the artist. In certain situations, I definitely do that. But I think if somebody is a child predator, that's a bridge too far. And I think the people that are okay with that, I mean, I just don't get that. I don't understand. Like, I don't know. But yeah, child sex crimes are the worst of all time. So people that support people who commit those type of acts are disgusting.
I really, I'm going to expand on that point there that you just said, Chish. Because I think there's a lot to talk about there. Let's go to D10 Dream.
Here we go. Okay. So I think it's very clear that what R. Kelly did was atrocious and he got what he deserved. But I do think, in my experience, I know a lot of people that listen to R. Kelly music. Whoa, what's this feedback?
It's Niall. Yeah. If you could mute yourself, go ahead, D10 Dream.
Like I was saying, in my experience, when I'm talking to people who listen to R. Kelly music, they always like shunned his actions when he, did his raping and trafficking. So it's like, I like step side to side, you know what I'm saying? But I don't like this dude that made the song personally. So I like his music, but I don't like this guy personally. And so we do this all the time. Like I like Kant's categorical imperatives, but I don't like him personally. Why? Because he was racist. But he did say some good stuff. I like Chief Keef, but I don't like him personally. Why? Because he's a gangster, and his life is not what I'm about. I like a lot of people that do some questionable things morally, in terms of their content or what they produce, because it's fun to listen to, and they've done some cool stuff. But them personally, I don't like. So it's very clear. It's doable to separate the artist from the art. But in terms of supporting them, in terms of, oh, if you're listening to music, you're giving them money, then yeah, that's kind of a support. But I'm talking about like advocating or backing up what they do. Like, that's not what people, for the most part, are doing. Like in terms of, oh yeah, what he did with those girls is true, or oh, he didn't do that. So that's it.
Thank you so much, Smooth.
Okay.
First of all, thanks, Smooth, for being here. Happy to have you around. Thanks for jumping in. You can introduce yourself and then your opinion on the topic.
Okay. So it looks like I'm gonna be kind of at odds with everyone. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad to be
Fresh.
first of all, I'm glad to be here. Glad I finally made it. Lots of traffic and all that, but here I am. So I want to start with, first of all, like the FBI proved MJ was innocent. Chris Brown, when I say he's civilian misunderstood, when I say that, I'm saying that he put out a document, like it's very explained. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna go through it again, but it's very explained what actually happened to him and why it happened. So he's not. Yes, he's wrong for hitting her, but in the situation in which things happened and entailed, no party was 100% right. And the whole thing is, the person that he abused, she forgave him a long time ago. They're cool. So I'm off him. I'm off that
Wait,
shit.
but what about R. Kelly?
No.
It's the opening, Gambit. It's the opening.
I'm getting there. All right. I'm getting there. So then, too, because I just have to attack stuff that's false. First of all, because I'm here to tell the truth. Johnny Depp or whatever, right? Or whatever, he proved that, you know what I'm saying, that Amber Heard lied about the abuse or whatever. But she got money because he said that she colluded with her best friend and her fiance to get money. You know what I mean? To defame him. So therefore, you know what I'm saying, there's that part, right? So that's how she got her $2 million. That's what that judgment is for. You can literally look it up and read it. It's plain as day. Now, R. Kelly is wrong. That man is wrong. I'm glad he's in jail. Okay. I do not care. Like the child molestation, child rape, all that stuff with children, him can be, you can throw him in the same volcano, because I don't want to put them in a hole. I want to put them in lava. Okay. R. Kelly, Elvis Presley, and all the other people like him, you just throw them all into the volcano, into hot lava, and watch them melt like the Terminator in Terminator 2. Okay.
Okay. So I want to wait before you jump into this. All right. So one, the question wasn't that whether this culture was unique to the Black community. That's not what the question said. The question says, is it especially pernicious in the Black community, where they may try to protect someone from perceived injustices by white society, right?
Yeah,
and I definitely had something. Yeah. So I when I had that in mind, right, I'm thinking of the Chris Brown incident where people were saying that, like, how could you, Rihanna, do this? Take this outside of the community. All right, like it should have been handled with between you and him, right? You're trying to put another Black man in jail. Like, you hear this when it comes to Black men and abuse, right? That like they should get some sort of special protection, because otherwise you're just adding to the persecution of the culture, right, of the community. So that's the thing that happens. So that's why I was asking about, not that like this is something that's unique to the Black community.
I still disagree with
and
it.
Then, yeah. And then, right? We had the other thing that I wanted to talk about, which is what GSU brought in, was people working with these individuals, right? Like R. Kelly. A lot of people have worked with these people, even though they know they're abusers, right? They know Chris Brown. They work with Chris Brown, even though he's an abuser. They work with R. Kelly for decades, right? All this knowledge, we knew this. We all knew it about R. Kelly. But like, there are people who actually actively work with them. Is that okay? And what does that say about them? And what does it say about us for consuming?
Can I load it? Can I load it? Like, I want to hear what Gambit has to say, but like, I just want to make it very clear, right? So, Aaliyah's debut album, Age is But a Number, was produced by R. Kelly. And the song, Age is But a Number, that's on the debut album, titled Age is But a Number, was written and produced by R. Kelly. So let's make sure we remember that when we talk about complicity of people in the acts that they do.
Yeah.
Anyway, carry on.
Cool. I just wanted to set the record straight first. Pyro said Destiny did something wrong. Destiny not done anything wrong. But back to this. Yeah, I think when you look at the music that R. Kelly, and that's the thing I was going to go into, Joe, the music that R. Kelly was producing, like, my mind's telling me no, but my body's telling me yes. It's clear that he was making music struggling with pedophilia. So the idea that anyone would act as if this is okay, like, you're a very sick person to me.
His first album his first album name was Born in the 90s, and the second one was 12th Play. So I think he's trying to give us some clues here.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
like, I think we don't need to try. Like, I think we all know, like, R. Kelly's pretty fucked up over this.
No, but I wanted to answer Prime's question. So yeah, like, I think he's particularly disgusting because, like, not only was he doing terrible things, but those terrible things are the theme to his music. Like, I think even like Pied Piper is like something to do with, like, he was like the Pied Piper R&B. But yeah, so he particularly marketed himself as just a pedophilic monster, and people said it was okay. So yeah, I think it's okay to look at people that worked with him and like disparage them and say, "Yo, how could you?" People can really say like, "Oh, I didn't know he was doing it." He had a sex tape that was released with him and a 14-year-old girl. Everyone saw it, and he was like, "Oh, that was my brother," which is terrible. Like, if that was his brother, I would.
He said what? What did he say?
He said it was his brother.
My brother. Yeah.
His brother.
Yeah.
Like, that's the same reason why. Yeah, but that's the same reason why, like, I hold like comedians to such like a weird standard now, because it's so interesting to me how people were Pikachu facing about Louis C.K. and any Joe Rogan fan for any amount of time knows definitively that Joey Diaz is on record saying the things that he did to women at clubs, and that everybody was in on it, and everybody like knows these things are happening. And even when Louis C.K. happened, like when all that shit was going down on Joey Diaz's podcast, he goes, "Yeah, everybody knew, brother. You think anybody knew that Louis was diddling people in the back?" And then he goes on to these stories about all these female comedians and how like the green room at the Comedy Store is just like the training ground for like seeing like who is worth it and with it. But then like when the rubber hits the road of like, yeah, you guys are kind of like all complicit and responsible for this thing, then they play that like, oh wait, no, but I wasn't there. I mean, there.
Like it's even worse with shit like the Harvey Weinstein shit. Like I recently watched a documentary on that shit, and it's like all these fucking actors, everyone knew that this guy was doing this shit. All the funny comedians you love, Andy Samberg, fucking all these motherfuckers, and it's just like no one said shit. And now that it's after the fact, we got like the solemn faces like, oh yeah, everyone knew. We just didn't say shit. And if you're asking, and this is the Prime, not you, Gambit, but like if you're asking me like, yo, do I want to condemn these people that knew this horrible shit was going on, even if it's my favorite person? Fuck yeah! Fuck yeah! I want to know who was involved with this so I know who to fucking boycott too, bro. Like, I'm with that. Unfortunately, it's like it's part of my answer of why I think it's stand culture. Like, there are people who are fans of people who they see in TV and they see in media who don't hold the same position, that are like, for some reason, Nah, I don't want to do that. And it might be the community, it might be some other, but like it's always because they're fans of this person. And it's not just the black. You see this with the gay community when they had Jeffree Star and like James Charles go through their whole bullshit, and like you had their rabid fans being like, no, keep this out of the community, you know, to handle it off stage, blah blah blah, same shit. And it was like, yeah, kind of shit people, but you know, their rabid fan base defends them.
Like that
Well,
bullshit
y'all
with
not
the
gonna,
machine
so y'all not gonna
was
like
mine,
this
too.
part.
Okay. Oh, tell us what we're not gonna like.
Oh god.
So, like, I view child sex crimes, and I think we talked about this before, probably on a different panel. I view that as like otherworldly from other things. So, like with like the Chris Brown situation, things like that, I don't view those the same. Like I view like domestic violence as terrible, right? Like I'm a person that like lived through that. So like I'm not putting like a damper on like how bad domestic violence is. But I don't think it rises to the degree to me personally of like taking an innocent child and doing shit to them. Like that shit is like worse than murder to me. So like I don't put all crimes on the same level. So when people separate the art from the artist in other cases, I don't necessarily have a problem with it because people are going to do bad shit. And if you're going to say, oh, you did this one bad thing, we got to excommunicate you, you're going to excommunicate everybody, right? And eventually yourself too. So I'm not a fan of just like, hey, let's throw away everybody. But particularly shit that involves kids, I'm like, yeah, like throw them niggas away. So
I think that might be.
put that out there.
I think that might be like a personal thing for you because for me,
For sure.
I think pedophilia, rape, and murder are on the same plane for me. Like I think they're all equally as bad. Like depending on like the severe, like they all each have their levels of severity, but on the equal like
I could agree with you on rape being as bad, but not murder for sure.
I mean,
like
you like for me personally. If you were, never mind. I'm not gonna go that rabbit hole.
Like I don't think this needs to be. This doesn't need to become a panel about like which crime is the worst. Like it's a fucking crime. It's you're doing something to a person. I don't like. Does the list need to be said like, oh, you know, rape is worse than child rape, which is worse than hitting? I don't care. It's like when I find out that the people I watch, the people I'm fans of, engages in the shit that I disagree with. Whatever your line is personally, I'm gonna call them out. Some fans don't. That's a problem.
That's cool. I'm just answering Prime's question about like how do we look at people that work with people? And y'all have mentioned Chris Brown and other people that have done things that aren't child sex crimes. So I just wanted to lay it out clearly that I'm not a fan of the way that I feel about R. Kelly and like the cancellation or whatever we want to call it. I don't feel that way about anyone who commits a felony or a crime or blah, blah, blah. It's specifically people that, and I think Dream right to bring up rape, but I think people that do rape and child crimes, those are the people I'm talking about that I'm like, yeah, this is a bridge too far. But almost anything else, probably. I mean, y'all will name something, and I'll be like, yeah, that too. But almost everything else, I can get over.
You hold it to a higher like level.
So Chris Brown, he, I mean, we've seen the photos of Rihanna afterwards, right? Chris Brown beats the crap out of her, right? But he doesn't stick his penis in her. And so that's more okay than
if you're asking me if it's at the same level to me, it's not.
But I also think that too. I mean, I think beating up somebody is less worse than raping somebody. I think that's pretty much clear across the board. I don't think you'll find much disagreement there.
Yeah,
I think it the game changes when you're talking about like a loved one, right? Like having assault, right? So like if you fucked up a random person, right? Whether he got in a fight with them or he was drunk and he fucked them up, I think that's something. But I think domestic violence is its own special case,
just to be clear, because it's been a minute. Like we got to remember for Chris Brown, the problem wasn't okay. It's gonna sound really weird to say. Can't believe this is happening. It wasn't that he did definitively assault Rihanna. It was the charges that he got for the crimes that he admitted to, because he pled out and got community service. He got 5 years probation and community service. And that's what people got upset about. It wasn't that like he got away with it. It's like kind of like the same thing that I was saying in terms of like of OJ, if like they went through the process and then this is what happened with the process.
So, but you also got to look at Rihanna didn't want him to go to jail, like either. That's also hemmed up the persecution as well. It wasn't like you had a willing witness that was like, yo, I want this man to go to jail. She still loved him. She still hung out with him. She still did songs with him right after. Like
That makes no difference.
No,
That makes no difference.
The difference for the persecution, because now it's just the state persecuting you. It's not like you have a willing witness to do
that's the way it's domestic violence all the time, though.
Well,
like,
I
that's
agree.
what.
Not all the time.
It happens many times. Yes, in domestic violence, oftentimes the victim themselves doesn't want the person to be prosecuted. That doesn't mean this person isn't a threat to society, and will continue doing on. And just like we've seen with Chris Brown, right? We have more and more reports of him like fucking up women. Like another one came out a few months ago of him messing up women, right? So it's not so it doesn't matter that like his latest victim, right? Who cares about him? Yeah, she doesn't want him to go to jail because she cares about him. I get that. That's great, but he's a monster.
So do y'all want to change the law or what?
But the other one
Who's a monster?
But like for me, wait.
Chris Brown.
Well, like how can you?
Did you watch the documentary?
How can you?
Did you watch the documentary?
I didn't watch your fucking documentary.
You need to watch the documentary. You gotta watch the
Oh my god! I'm sorry.
Wait,
I didn't even know this fucking documentary exists. So I don't give a shit, right? And like the
I'm just
facts.
saying you wouldn't say that.
He did fuck her up. Did he not fuck her up?
But you wouldn't say he's a monster.
Did he? No. Did he fuck her up?
He fucked her up. Yeah.
Okay, all right. That's all I got. That's all I need.
I don't necessarily
wouldn't call her a
agree.
monster?
No, I would. I did.
I don't
do it
agree.
again.
I don't agree with this idea that like Chris Brown is going to be very impartial about a documentary that he's producing about himself.
It's a biased it's a biased source in like the most simplest ways. He made a documentary about himself, which is going to paint a generally pleasant picture of him, so you feel bad for him. Like, of course that's what he's going to do. But like, besides that, like for me, it's not about like whether he was prosecuted or not. It's about like when I start hearing about this shit. Like when I start hearing about this shit and like the pictures of like Rihanna start coming out and it's like, yo, damn, did he lay the mollywop on her? I gotta look at that as a fan and be like, do I really want to be the nigga supporting a woman beater? And it's like the R. Kelly shit. Even before the law came down on him, how many decades did we have niggas being like, yeah, R. Kelly pees on little girls. Yeah, R. Kelly sleeps with little girls.
R. Kelly has
I think what's happened.
That's where we're at right now.
It's not. No. I've already addressed the fact that they're not the same. I'm saying there's different levels. Like Gambit has his level of what he thinks is like just, I'm gonna cut ties with people. You may have your level. For whatever your level is, why is it that some people can't look at these people and be like, yo, damn, nah. I'm saying Chris Brown and Rihanna because for me, I don't like people who beat women. It may be different for you. I'm not even going to argue that.
Nobody is saying they're okay with that.
Let's just hold on.
I'm being spicy.
It was a fight but Chris Brown's just stronger. So that's what it was.
Listen. Don't get too defensive. Don't get too hopped up on Chris Brown. I'm just being spicy. But it's shit like that. Like, why can't we just look at them and be like, yo, they did something wrong. We did it for R. Kelly for generations. Bro, I grew up hearing about how that nigga peed on little girls and shit. And now we're supposed to be like, oh, why are the fans getting in a tizzy? It's because he had a bop. People like the art. I'm like,
look, take Chris Brown, put him in a box to the side, and let's deal with R. Kelly, because this is a totally different level of monster. This is totally different, okay? Yes. It's totally different. Let's just take Chris Brown, put him in a box. Cool. We agree to disagree, whatever the fuck it is.
And we gotta make sure he doesn't dance out of it. So you gotta make sure the box is a little...
Look.
Little wide.
Make sure his sad life doesn't make him hit any more women. I don't know.
Unless he can moonwalk on water, we good, okay? That's reserved for Michael Jackson. So anyway, we ain't got to worry about him. He's in the water. That's cool. R. Kelly is completely different. This dude was monstrous from inception to the end. There was no period of time where he was not a monster.
We know. There were jokes about it, bro. Like, they were like, he pees on little... That's been a joke. So it's like, why do we...
But his fans are... Like, there's something... you don't see this. Wait, time out. Wait. I'm saying... You don't see it the same.
I'm saying, and Gambit pointed out...
dancing.
No. Gambit...
this, and there's multiple other examples we could give where there are other communities who hold the same venerates. They know, they make jokes about it in their own communities, like, you know, the black community did about R. Kelly peeing on little girls for so long, and it's just something that fan communities do. It's fucked up. It's really fucked up. When I was able to actually grasp what the fuck that meant, that he was peeing on little girls, it's like, yo, how are my parents still bopping to this? It's because the nigga had good music. It's because they thought the music was good. When I hear shit like people like talking about Jeffree Star and shit like that, doing the same exact thing, hanging around little kids and diddling little kids, and I hear these accusations, and then the line of evidence comes up where like they're, you know, saying no to adult parties to hang out with 16-year-olds and shit like that, and I'm looking at these motherfuckers like, yo, why do you still like their fucking makeup? It's fucked up. It's the fucking fandom. I don't think there's anything specific to it. It's the fandoms. It's not just R. Kelly. We see it all the time.
No. So look. R. Kelly in the years that he was coming up versus Elvis Presley, you had people getting married off that young. Like that was still a regular thing in America.
Like, just to be clear, we haven't.
No. I'm just talking about the mentality of those people. Therefore, they did not see it as bad. I'm just saying.
Wait.
We going down the dum-dum route right now.
Regular 1959.
I'm not trying to be a dum-dum. I'm saying, no. Smooth.
You think fucking 14-year-olds as a 24-year-old was regular in 1959?
I don't think right now it's okay.
Wait. It's not about right now. In 1959, do you think the cultural norm said, yo, it's okay if a grown fucking man fucks a 14-year-old? Because that's what Elvis did.
No. It's not about it being a grown man. About how they sexualized. I'm saying it's about how they sexualized 14-year-olds.
You lost the whole
whole argument, my bro. Wait, I don't even know where you're going with this.
Okay, Elvis
hear me out. No, Joe Louis, shut the fuck up for a second. Elvis fucked a 14-year-old. Okay,
wait. Do we know he fucked her? Do we know he fucked her at 14? At 14?
Yes, bro. Like Elvis fucked a 14-year-old.
I thought you waited until she was 18.
Her parents were upset.
Time out.
He brought her home late.
To be fair, that was in the 50s, right?
Okay,
but
so Dream.
Okay, but the point. Time out. Like the point being made. Even in the 50s, if you are publicly outed fucking a child, it's generally not a good thing. Even with how fucked up the 50s were. Fucking wait, hold on, Smooth, before you interrupt with some dumb shit. Even in the 50s, when you fuck a child, it's not generally good. So the discussion that Gambit, me, and Joe are trying to bring it to is why did Elvis's fans for so fucking long just overlook it, erase it from their memories, kind of in the same way that the communities of the fans of R. Kelly just erase his horrible shit. It became kind of a joke. It's in the back of your mind. You don't think about it. No. Elvis fans say the music's good.
I will give this.
No. So for Elvis fans in his time and in his era, a 14-year-old girl could be married off. Period. She could go get married, and that's what she did.
To clarify what happened is not what you're saying direct. Oh God, I can't believe I'm doing this. Okay. So they had in the 40s and the 50s, even as early as like 40s through like the 70s or so, they did have promises of marriage. So it was common for 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, for men who were 18 to give promise rings and promises of marriage to girls like age 14 to 16 or so. However, that's totally different than saying that like they were carted off to marriage. As an example, my mother had that experience to her where my father gave her it's essentially a wedding ring in terms of prices now, but he got a promise ring for her and she was 12 at the time and he was 16. So like there was a promise of marriage when she is of age. But that's totally different than saying that like he was like courting her. But again, like maybe I'm giving a better argument.
Yeah, to be clear, he was 10 years older than this person. And in the 1950s, women were typically married at age 20 and men at age 23. So it's not typical to just fuck 14-year-old girls in the 1950s. And anyway, That's not true. This is not real.
And even like the idea of sexual promiscuity of young girls was like you just don't do that. That would get you kicked out of your house.
Exactly.
It got and again, like the only reason why I know that is because I'm in the lovely position of having silent generation parents. So like my mom would just tell me these crazy stories about like just. Now, to be clear, sexual harassment was rampant. My mother and my sisters were categorically, definitionally sexually assaulted by multiple men as early as the age of 10.
For sure.
And true, like the culture is different and how we talk about those things because they act like my mom literally describes how she was sexually assaulted by her banker, by like her bank manager. And then like she ended up like after a course of months of this harassment, she ended up getting a promotion. And then she said, like, well, that's just what we do. Like, I did it because I wanted to get promoted. And I'm like, you got sexually assaulted. But then it's like, but the thing is that, like, yeah, like, and even like when, like, her and I firmly disagree on this too. Because, like, but my point is that, like, to say that, like, it wasn't necessarily the culture per se, but if anything, like Presley did that to himself. Like he had a presentation of overtly sexualizing himself to manipulate women. And like in terms of like Dream, like the sad truth about Elvis Presley is that the more you read about him, the worse he gets. Where it's like first you're like, oh, he's just ain't nothing but a hound dogging, and it's like, well, that was actually a cover by a black woman, and it's like, oh shit, really? Yeah. Is all of his music like that?
Yeah.
He never wrote one song. Every single music he got, I know.
And then people want to paint like black music as like the devil. And then it's like, but then somehow Elvis, but that's a whole different thing because Elvis got a pass.
I mean, like, but when we talk about like these people doing these horrendous things, like, yeah, fans tend to overlook that shit. Then you get people outside of that shit who, like, you know, be like, yeah, that's really fucked up. Like, you know, I don't know how else to say it. Like, yes, fans look over that shit a lot.
Well, I think what Dream and the others are saying is that you can't really compare R. Kelly with Elvis when, you know, the stuff Elvis did was...
Don't say that.
I'm saying that.
Okay.
Don't say that.
What I think is that you can't truly compare R. Kelly and Elvis when Elvis did his thing 70 years ago. Like, the norms are totally different back then. Like, of course, they weren't totally okay with someone fucking a 14-year-old, but it was still more okay back then than it was today. So I think it's not really that much of a fair comparison.
Wait. I just got a simple question, because if you're gonna take the like, yo, they did it in a time back then. How about the length of his discography? How about the like how many years his music just keeps getting reprinted, and his fans just like, even when the times change, and you know, apparently, you know, fucking 14-year-olds is not good.
I don't think it was more okay to fuck.
No, Gambit. Like,
you're 59.
No, let's give him that. No, Gambit, give him that, because to them, like to everyone, the 50s is like some alternate universe where everything was just terrible and everyone was okay with it. Like, not really, but like, I will give that to them. But like, if we're gonna talk about, yo, it was a different time back then, cool. What about all of the time when shit progressed and no one just said, wait, let's just go ahead.
The problem with what you're laying out is, if you agree that it was okay at the time, then it was okay at the time, and you wouldn't look back on them as a monster in the same way, because it was okay when they did. It was culturally acceptable, appropriate, blah, blah, blah. My thing is, it wasn't. And you can't give away this fairy tale argument that niggas were just smashing.
Yeah. GSU.
I know currently, I remember in the Justin Bieber days when I was growing up in middle school, we had a bunch of like middle schoolers saying actively they want to have sex with Justin Bieber. And I know my girlfriend had a huge crush on Mindless Behavior when she was in middle school. And so she was like, man, these children, these little girls was making pop fiction like stories about how they want to have sex with a lot of older. I think it's culturally acceptable for young girls to want to have sex amongst themselves with a lot
That's
older
not
men.
what we're talking about.
Yeah,
but I'm saying
the difference would be is that like if maybe oh god, I can't. We're gonna leave not a lot of rope for Justin here, but like come on, Dream. Like we know that we can see the difference. Like if Justin Bieber was actively pursuing young girls, which
but I'm saying, what about the young?
Well, I mean, to be fair, To be
But
fair,
I'm
he
saying
was
we're not the
15
young
at the
girls
time.
actually following him.
He was 15
what I'm
back
saying.
That's
then.
not comparable to a nigga having sex with a
Like, I'll give you
14-year-old
Sex
girl.
trafficking.
I'll give you an example.
He's
I'll give you-
30
I'll give you-
years for sex trafficking. Like,
I'll give an example.
No, I'm not
that
talking
makes
about R.
sense.
Kelly at this. I'm talking about Elvis
Yeah.
this time.
Yeah, I'll give you an example that maybe I'll just see where your thoughts are, right? So at my university, Prince Royce performed, and then for those of you who don't know who Prince Royce is, he's pretty huge. And something that happened, because I knew because I got hit by it, is that there were just girls throwing underwear at him. This happened for a considerable amount of time, so much so that the concert had to stop because the administration said stop throwing underwear and on the stage. Now, I guess where your thoughts are is that do you think that it would be okay for Prince Royce to invite people whose underwear that belongs to the backstage? I'm assuming Dreamy wouldn't be okay with that.
Who's Roy? Who's this Roy?
Prince Royce?
The person doesn't matter. Are you okay with a
The
man
action.
that has young girls throwing panties at them to invite those young girls backstage?
How young are
Only
they?
to give
How
their
young are
panties
they?
back.
only to give their
Only to
panties
give
back.
Here you go. It was
So
just
like,
like-
wait, time out. I want to break it down, Barney. I want to break it down, Barney style. So like, you don't think in any chain of command he can't like be like, yo, find out who this is and just like hand it to someone else. You think he's like, yo, only to hand the panties back can he invite them backstage? You know, the girls who was throwing the panties at you, right? You can invite them backstage and be like, here's your panties, and then like, you just good with that?
What's wrong with giving somebody their items back?
Bro, if you honestly think that any fucking celebrity, any rock star is gonna be like that, just that magnanimous, like invite motherfuckers back there, throwing their panties at them, and just be like, yes, madam, here are your panties.
Only but was it a week?
Wait, can we not
only if they do that? Only if they do that, do they? Am I allowing that?
Can we not?
Well, obviously, if they're nefarious, in their
Dream. I
reasoning.
know you might be excited to talk about giving young girls their panties back, but it's actually disgusting. I don't want.
Yes, it is. Like we ain't even talking about women.
Hold on.
So like I'll give you like
It's a joke about like giving some 12-year-old girl her panties back. That's disgusting. But
What's
anyway,
wrong with that?
What? No, I think like I'll try to not steal, man, but I'll try to kind of explain it. Let's say like Gambit's my PR team. I'm the artist who's getting panties thrown at me.
I'll be right back.
And then wait, but Gambit, wait.
I'll be your PR team.
So I'm Pyro's PR team, or PR is part of my PR team. I think the argument that Pyro would make as a member of my PR team, this is something that Voss should have probably had, is that like, bro, don't engage with these people because you don't want to be put in that situation in the first place of like the semantical of like, I just want to just give them back to them, even if it's a good gesture, because you don't want to like. It's like, I mean, I was smiling because it's like that's a hard thing to explain yourself out of, because it's like, what are you doing? I'm just giving her panties back. Why do you have her panties? Oh, because
why did she throw it at me?
Because she threw them at me on stage, and then it's like the level of like
the argument I would make as Joe's PR team, like even just to avoid all of like, hey, it's just optically bad, and you don't. It's just like, bro, no. I'll get like one of the roadies to do it, bro. Like you ain't inviting some girl backstage and handing her back her panties.
I think Power would even go farther and say like, why do you still have them? Like, why are they even back here? Why do they exist back here?
Why did you pick them up? Why didn't someone else pick them up off stage? Exactly. Like, bro, like nah, like it just looks really bad. And then like I understand like if you run into someone and like, oh no, I just gave them back their panties. Yeah, they're cool. You found a good one, but it's just like nah, I don't want to.
Cool. No, y'all did a good job on that. Good stuff. All right, so
we waited for you to get back.
Yeah, somebody posted in chat something that I wanted to bring up to get y'all thoughts on. Now I hate R. Kelly for sure. Nigga needs to have 2,000 years in jail, and I'd be super okay with it. Do y'all find it weird that Ghislaine Maxwell got less time than R. Kelly? Like that's like I hate R. Kelly, right? Like I think the nigga's very disgusting.
I don't find it weird.
Wait. What?
You're talking about Ghislaine Maxwell for
20 years.
Epstein. Yeah.
Oh, the Epstein.
The Epstein. Conspirator. The Epstein conspirator.
I mean, R. Kelly directly did that. Like he did those actions, right? Ghislaine Maxwell was only basically like the side person on that interaction.
Hitler didn't do the actions either. He just commanded niggas to. So you're okay with Hitler getting less than the soldiers that did it.
Yo, where did Hitler come from? I look away.
I'm just saying, you don't have to be active in the action. Just
Bro, I look away for 2 seconds.
Pyro,
yeah, but
logic
already on my back.
I'm just using the logic. I'm just using the logic. You don't have to be active in the.
I want to ask.
Yeah, but
I want to ask. So, Kofi, let me ask you a question. So, first off, Jelaine did have sex with little girls. I don't know if she was charged with that. I don't think any of her counts were for like rape or anything.
One
So
for
potentially
trafficking. Like there was 2 for lying under oath about the abuse itself.
Yeah, but I don't think any of them were for rape or anything. But she did have sex with girls. But I don't think she was charged with that. So maybe you didn't know that. But anyway, the second thing is, hold on. To me, Ghislaine Maxwell is like a super demon in this situation. Because specifically, she is going to young, vulnerable girls and making them comfortable to feed them to predators. So, like, I hate predators for sure. Like, I hate the R. Kellys of the world. I even hate more than R. Kelly, the person that's delivering girls to him, like building up that confidence with them and just handing them to predators. So, like, I think she's more heinous almost. Like, first off, she did commit sex acts too, but I think she's more heinous than niggas that are actually predators. Like, that's crazy.
yeah, I mean, I'm not saying what Ghislaine Maxwell did wasn't wrong. I'm just saying it wasn't more wrong than R. Kelly.
Yes,
in my
but you
opinion.
think she should have less time?
Yeah, I think she should have less time. Yeah.
I mean,
nah.
mathematically-
It's the sheer
mathematically-
numbers.
But
Like R. Kelly got 30 years. Like that's a
yeah, they're
long
both
time.
going to come out of.
I think
Sure,
Isles
but-
is trying to speak, but he's muted.
Oh no, he is. Oh,
He's
I was-
muted in the Discord. He's
Yeah.
muted in the Discord. I've been watching him try and like mouth shit for like the last 5 minutes, but the dude's just been muted.
I'm sorry, I
Okay,
forgot.
there you
I
go.
keep forgetting I'm muted.
Think about it, Coffee. Why must somebody be active in the horror that they help perpetuate in order to get the same amount of time of punishment, the same punishment than the people that they allow to commit those horrors? Why must they be doing the same horrors? Can't they just allow and actually contribute to the horror to a great degree?
Because that's just how the law works, right?
That's not
That's just how the
law-
legal system works.
So, Coffee.
Oh my god.
Coffee, I have a great
I
example.
wasn't surprised.
We literally have people on RICO, right? Like RICO, like violations and convictions of like being the leader of a gang.
That's what R. Kelly
you
got
literally-
charged with. Part of it.
Like being a leader of a gang, you get way more time than simply the people that you literally tell what to do. They're the extensions of your power, but you get more time as you telling them what to do. You understand that, right? So you being active in the crime that you tell other people what to do actually gets you less time than you being the leader and telling people what to do. You know that, right? So it's not how the law works. What are you talking about?
I mean, I would probably want to see like evidence of that. I mean, like,
You don't think gang leaders get more time than the
No,
people?
hold
Are you serious
on.
right now?
The evidence is the 2 cases that we're talking about. R. Kelly was charged with like RICO type charges, and that's probably why he got more time.
Okay, so Coffee,
yeah, but I mean, you
very
just.
simple. Coffee. Simple example for
Well,
you.
can
okay?
I respond to
Simple example.
GSU Gambit real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, you just
Charged with
basically explained yourself, right? Like he also had RICO
no,
charges and
no,
plenty of
no.
other charges on top of that. That's
No,
why he got
listen,
more
listen.
time.
You have to understand that the conversation is more complex than what sentence that they give her. It's also the charges that they gave her, the charges that were brought up, and the charges that she was convicted of, right? Like, so I'm saying that she's more of a monster, but that doesn't mean that in the legal case, in the criminal case, they were able to prove all of those things against her.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the legal case. It just makes more. It makes sense why she got less time. Like I'm.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think we're
Yes,
conflating
I
the.
agree with you.
Yeah, I think we're conflating like morality and all that.
No, so,
Yeah.
so Coffee, perfect example for you, right? Perfect example for you. If you are the getaway driver, right, for a murder or robbery, you get charged the exact same. In her case, she's even worse because she literally facilitated child rape like multiple times. Like, she
Yeah, and
literally-
I would go
she
as far as to
literally
say
wasn't
she-
butt.
She's probably worse.
And
than
my
R. Kelly,
point in
to
it
be
is
honest.
that my
She might
point
be
in it
worse.
is that it seems like I don't know for sure because I didn't watch the R. Kelly trial at all. and Jelane's, however you say her name, somebody was saying
He's Lynn.
say it differently. But anyway, her trial was federal, so it wasn't followed by the public, right? We couldn't see it. But my thing in it, the reason why I posed it was, I feel like if our judicial system would have treated them the same, which I think that, to me, there's evidence that either she had connections that made her situation more amenable or whatever. But I think that if our justice system would have treated her with the same amount of vigor as they treated with R. Kelly, she would have ended up with more time. So I don't want to conflate what charges she was actually found guilty of with what I think should have happened with her, because those are two different things. And I think her being who she is and him being this black man, even though he did this terrible thing, I think they went harder on him than they did on her, given that and to me, she's more of a monster.
And then they also didn't want her to fold. Okay. Like she had leverage on the other people that actually knew what went on there and actually were participants. Therefore, she was able to leverage her connections to those people to get less time, so she doesn't out them. If she was to start outing people, because we've seen the images floating around of the flight itinerary and all that stuff, like the people that would have went down if she would have folded would have been catastrophic.
Would have been Joe Biden.
Something previously?
You said what?
Isle, did you want to say something previously? You were trying.
Yeah. I was gonna say that. When the whole thing about whatchamacallit, Ghislaine Maxwell versus R. Kelly. Yeah, I wasn't surprised that she got less time than R. Kelly because of all her connections. She knew all the people that in places of high power that could get her sweet deals and able to skate by on some charges that obviously she's guilty, but they didn't even want to bring her up on those charges because then that would bring up more questions to ask, and those are questions that people didn't really want the answers to.
I think she just got off, or she got off with less time than R. Kelly, just simply because there wasn't really that much evidence to really put her on those charges. So that's just my opinion.
Hey, yo.
I think there was lots of evidence. That's why they called her the first evidence.
Tons.
First of all, how did she get 20 years if there's lacking evidence?
Yeah, well, I mean, you
not get lacking evidence.
Well, I mean, she probably got a lot of charges, right? She just did not get one charge. Like, there's probably stacks of charges that she got, right? Or did she not?
Yeah, and each of them had lots of evidence for them.
Yeah, like if you get 20 years for lack of evidence, bro, I need to get the fuck out this country.
Well, all I'm saying is that
no, 20 years lack of evidence.
I think he's trying to say a lack of evidence. Hold on, I want to help. I think he's trying to say lack of evidence for the crimes we think she should have been convicted of.
Sure. Yeah, right? That's what I'm saying.
Hopefully, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Ooh.
Okay. Look at us being generous.
Well, I mean, I don't know, man.
We're being so nice today.
but I do think that, but what sucks about everything is that, not everything, but just it doesn't really matter how strong your stand culture is, because you still have to face the long black dick of the law. And sometimes it hits hard. We've seen that happen. Sometimes it just puts the head in, and it's just okay, 5 years probation. And it's okay, I'll take that. And sometimes it's life in prison, and it's coming out of your nose how deep it's inside of you.
Sometimes it's nice and gentle. You can breathe going in, and then the next time you choking and you trying to spit for your life. That's how it is. It don't care.
And then I guess the biggest frustration, probably Gambit feels this way, is sometimes in the face of guiltiness, in the face of there is no this, you look at the charges and you look at the evidence and it's oh, he is fucked, giga fucked, and then you have to watch it devolve in real time. An example that comes to mind for me is Casey Anthony, of there is no I am still amazed
That's
of how
the lady that killed her kid, right?
Yeah, well, I mean,
in the microwave.
The only thing they proved is that her parents were pretty fucking negligent, among other things. But it was painful to watch, because it's seas of evidence of like she's going to jail forever, right? And then like the ghosts of OJ's defense team is like, yeah, she's fucked, bro. We can't even defend that. And then somehow through incompetent representation and like an awful prosecution, she was able to get away with it. And I'm just sitting there like, bro. Like, I mean, sure, it's cool that she can't leave Florida ever, but it's like, I don't know, man. That's
Like,
I think she got away with it because there was just no direct evidence of it, like that of her killing the baby.
No, there was a baby that was put in a microwave.
Yeah.
You can literally can look at the baby's skin and go, the baby is
smooth.
dead.
I agree.
The baby died from microwave.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah,
I'll build the bridge. I will give you this coffee. I will say that sometimes our justice system is so fucking inept and it's so fucking backwards that when it comes to fighting its way out of a paper bag to actually convict someone who obviously did the thing, that it fails. I will give you that. Our justice system is garbage. But like, I think there are some cases where we could just be like, yeah, she microwaved that baby, or like, yeah, this person did that. Like, where it's like, yeah, the justice system did fuck up and like not give them the appropriate amount of time. I think this Ghislaine Maxwell is like an example.
Well,
It's like,
no.
yeah,
I mean, I think she was guilty in reality, but like, I think she was guilty in reality. All I'm saying
Maybe
is
it's a
just that
feature.
there was no actual direct evidence that she physically did it. Like, yeah, sure, the baby was killed, right, and the baby was microwaved. But what I'm saying again is that there was no evidence that she did it. Right? It could have been anybody else.
I want you on my defense.
Bro,
Well, that's what the lawyer said. So
When you find
you should have probably read the case.
When you find out I robbed my dispensary, I want you on my defense team where it's like, well, there's not enough evidence that he did do it. Granted, my client is high as fuck right now, but he didn't do it.
Well, I think
That's how the case went.
I think the only way to kind of like stop stand culture from like perpetuating itself, and this kind of sucks, is like making sure that the evidence and like what's presented is unignorable. And that's the thing that I noticed in like the Hep Hurd situation. That was the thing I noticed in the Chris Brown situation. Like, for example, take Ray Rice, right? Like defending Ray Rice for the first couple months.
The elevator guy, right?
Yeah, the first couple months, or I'm being more or less charitable here. The first about a week or so before the footage came out, easy clap. NFL's like, good. We're gonna defend this black man like we do all the other black men and other of our athletes that we put through this system. And then that tape came out, and then even like Jerry Jones probably looked at it and go, I can't even defend this clown. Like, just like because the NFL does it. Like, think about it this way, right? Like Josh Brown in a diary openly admitted to hitting his wife multiple times. I bet you none of you niggas know who Josh Brown is, but I bet you all you niggas know who Ray Rice is, because like the problem was in that situation is that like the NFL in one case defended him until it was public, and then in Josh Brown's case, it's like, we're just gonna hide this.
We're just gonna put the diary away for now and cover it up.
Wait, what about that? Isn't Big Ben also a?
Yes.
Yeah, Big Ben is super.
Yes.
Wife, right?
16-year-old girls too. Sorry, they just rode his motorcycle. That's what he says.
And he was allowed to be an NFL player until retirement, no?
Oh yeah, he played in the Steelers his whole life, and his entire team defended him. And somehow Antonio Brown was a crazy one, even though Antonio Brown called him a pedophile multiple times.
Ben Roethlisberger?
Ben
Yes, Big
Roethlisberger.
Ben.
Okay. I'm not a sports fan, but I happen to know that name. But okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that about him.
He bad. He's terrible.
He
Who else is a wife beater? I feel like there's a bunch of wife beaters in the NFL.
Yeah, a lot of them tend to be linebackers too. It's not a good look.
It's like a prerequisite to be a defensive tackle.
You got a bunch of what do you expect, Smooth? You got a bunch of dudes the size of trucks just getting concussions every fucking job shift, and like,
but then you know this.
Dudes just don't do anything about it.
You know, it's the slander of the Black King, Russell Wilson. And he just says the uncontroversial opinion of, I just don't want to fuck my wife until marriage. And then, like, people gaslight him. Like, look at your wife. Look how attractive she is. It's a shame.
All I know is the same thing I've been saying all panel, is that fan culture, fandom, stan culture, whatever you want to call it, it's always going to be toxic. When you get down to it and you look at these motherfuckers defend the people they idolize and they love for, dumb made up shit, it's just the weirdest shit, the weirdest excuses come out to light. Like, oh no, Chris Brown didn't fucking mollywop Rihanna. It's complicated. He had a complicated life, poking fun, but it's just like weird shit that always comes out.
So you said Russell King?
Russell Westbrook. Sorry.
Russell Westbrook.
Also known as our Black King, Russell Westbrook. He's married to Sierra, and men are perverted.
That's not Westbrook. That's Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
Okay, Russell Wilson. All right. And he's married to. Okay. Yeah.
And then, I forget the take, but basically, he said something along the lines of he's not having sex with her before marriage or something along that. And then you had basically the entire, Dusty, big word diaspora go, but look at her, bro. And it's like, okay. And this is Russell Wilson.
He waited till marriage, and now she's on kid number. They on kid number 3 together.
Yeah, he made it for lost time for sure. He made it for lost time.
Yeah, he definitely did.
How old are they? That's
pushing before.
He's
okay,
33.
sorry. I don't. I don't want to get distracted by this. All right, sorry. Oh my god, yeah.
Vibing,
bruh. Back to what we're discussing, right? And we can't seem to stick on the topics tonight, which is a bit annoying.
NFL players is a good route though, right? You think? Because there is a level of that kind of defense that I've heard. I've heard the black people defending black people no matter what argument for certain NFL athletes. For instance, God, the Rolodex. There's so many.
What about the dude that
I was
beat his
thinking
kid?
of Ray Rice.
Well. Michael Vick. Michael Vick was a huge one, big one, big people claiming that black people defend black people no matter what, and it's like, no, Mike Vick killed dogs, and we didn't forget that.
But hold on. But with Mike Vick, do you think that the punishment was, at least, the social consequences that he suffered were befitting when, he had dogs tortured or whatever, right, in his ring. But then other people had actively committed domestic violence. Other people have raped, and then they just kind of got off. But
I want to say a hot take, but I'm not going to do it.
I would.
I say it.
And maybe this is the hot take. Maybe I'm the hot take that the Gambit's thinking about. I think in
dogs.
terms of Michael Vick, and be very careful how I say this. I think that people were okay with the punishment that he was given, considering that everything of his was stripped. So the only way for him to enter back into was for a team to take an optical risk. And I think for the Philadelphia Eagles at that time, they chose to roll that dice, and it worked out for him to an extent. But at the same time, I do see now, for instance, with Ray Rice, he's gone forever. He had to retire because nobody would re-sign him. But then for Vic, it was right before I think the league was willing to just not let these people back. I think Mike Vick was the last one, in my opinion.
Listen, man, y'all not gonna like this.
Just say it.
And Peter, if you're listening, y'all should probably hit mute. All right, there's a lot of crimes in this world, right? At the bottom of that list is animal abuse. And I think animal abuse is horribly wrong. Terribly, terribly wrong. People shouldn't do it. If you hurt animals, you're probably going to be a sick fuck that hurts humans too. So I don't make light of it. But when it comes to all the stuff niggas have done in the NFL and they trying to blacklist people, blacklisting Mike Vick for that is just a show that white people care more about dogs than black people. That's just what it is. It is what it is.
Deshaun Watson is not building the best case either. I just want to make that clear. I should have mentioned that when I was saying shit. Deshaun Watson is probably fucked. I don't see a world where he's not going to get fucked. It's
for sure.
A third of you shouldn't have a stat that says Pyre. A third of the massages that he had, a third of the women that he had massages with have come forward for assault allegations, sexual assault allegations. And then your first thought is one in a third. So it was one woman out of 3. It's over 90 women. Of the over 90 women that he's had massages with, A third of them have come forward.
Whoa.
Listen, like,
And then the defense goes, like, what? But again, like, no one's defending him, and that's the thing. Like, no one's defending him. Like, they see the cases come back, but like, no player is going to be like
B90 though. Hey, my God, this nigga was
like I personally don't see the problem. Like, I hear about all of these things on any level, and like I understand there's different levels of how people experience, think about crimes and whatnot. And it's just like, bro, I hear about it, and it's like, yeah, I don't care if they have to excommunicate you. Cool, you got caught beating your wife because you wrote in your diary to fucking Homelander that, oh, my wife was mean to me, so you had to hit her. Well, congratulations, you don't have a job. Here, there's always that money.
Sorry, correction. 66. 66. I overinflated my 30.
like the only way you was gonna make that better if you made that number 2.
Yeah, like you can't. It doesn't make it better.
Wait, 66 women or out of 66 women?
Of the 66 women, 24 have come forward.
Okay.
Bruh. I like how you thought that made it better.
That's so bad.
That's still all bad.
Like, ran somebody over and killed them, and niggas didn't care. Like that. Well, like I said, Mike Vick did terrible stuff, right? Like niggas, I knew people that used to fight dogs. That's very common in rural America, and it's always disgusting. But like, for him to be like the poster child of getting blackballed out of the NFL for crimes, that's crazy.
Think that's racism?
Yeah.
You know what's crazy?
It's
I don't
think it's that much of a big deal.
Nah. So look, y'all want to know what's crazy?
Hold on. Cough. So you think the people who have committed murder, the people who have committed rape, domestic violence, you don't think it's weird that the nigga that had his cousins fighting dogs is more notoriously blackballed than all of those people combined?
No, I'm saying that him beating his dogs or whatever is not really that much of a big deal in my opinion.
Oh Jesus!
Oh my God! Okay, so like before we continue, I want to answer Gambit real quick. I 100% will agree with you on what the NFL should do. I don't really disagree with the fact that he was blackballed. Like y'all already saw my dogs and shit. I love animals, so it's like cool.
Yeah.
Fuck you. You should be blackballed. But like I can agree with you where it's like, yo, nigga, y'all going for you fought some dogs and y'all got niggas that murdered people. Y'all got niggas that I can understand where you're coming from.
Well, you're in jail. That's as blackballed as you get, though. You're in jail. Well, what nigga that murdered somebody is playing the NFL?
What's that nigga's name? That nigga was a wide receiver.
Bro.
No, there's a nigga that was a wide receiver that ran somebody over and killed him. It was a hit and run, and some kind of way got off on it. That nigga stayed in the NFL, and niggas didn't care.
It's not murder if he got off on it, is it?
It's coming back to me.
It's not murder if he got off on it. Tell it to the dead person.
Kill someone. That is
Dante
murder.
Stallworth.
Yo, it's not murder. Tell it to the person with the tire.
He didn't intend to kill him.
Murder is one of those.
If you don't intend to kill them, it's not murder.
Yes, it is.
It's attempted murder.
Third degree.
It's still murder.
It's called third degree.
It's still an unjust killing.
No. It's manslaughter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Manslaughter might not be an unjust killing. It might just be like a terrible killing. It's not unjust.
Yeah, I think it's with negligence or something, right?
Yeah, and to be fair, Stallworth did see consequences, and like there's shit happened, but he still had a career after that, albeit pretty shitty. But
that nigga was still in the league chilling.
But if he's that's not murder though. Like that's like a car accident, right? Like I don't think you should not have a job anymore over a car accident. I really don't.
You drink, you drive, you murder someone, you should be under the jail.
You're using murder as a charged language. It's not murder if you drink.
Yeah, he killed someone, not murder.
Okay, you know what? We won't say.
Time out. You're using it colloquially.
Time out. I got you.
Dream. Question. Hold on. Dream. I want you to tell me what word is appropriate.
Kill.
Guys in car. Guys drinking alcohol. Guys above the BAC level for alcohol. Guy runs into pedestrian. Pedestrian dies. What would you say happened?
He killed people. He killed people while under the influence. It's not murder.
That's the legal term. Like, I don't understand why it's so surprising.
Murder is like you intentionally try to kill somebody. But if you have a car accident,
no, that's first degree murder.
Okay, and second degree murder is like a crime of passion. I understand, but first degree murder is like
second degree murder is not crime of passion.
Isn't first degree murder? How do you say this? It has to be premeditated.
It's intentional.
Like,
It's intent. Intent is in first degree.
But like
No,
unplanned
first-
murder, but you still want to murder.
Yeah,
still,
first
like,
degree murder is premeditated, so you actually planned it. And it's
Yeah, premeditated and intent. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Self deprived is
and the
violent.
second degree is unplanned.
right. So the point is, I don't know why we're going this rabbit hole.
What about felony
the
murder?
point,
bro?
the point is like because you had a drunk accident and you did kill people, and that's horrible, and you should
be felony murder. He was
and you
committing felony.
Exactly. It's felony. He's a felony. It's felony murder.
Felony murder. Okay, cool.
Murder.
The point is,
Actually,
it's still an accident. It's still an accident.
It's not an accident.
What's happening?
No matter what you call it, one is an accident and one is intentional, right? And I don't think you should lose your job over an accident.
You shouldn't lose your job over felony murder. Got it. Clip it and ship it, boys. Well, let's go. APE. That's an emote. That's an emote right now.
Hold on. Let me make it absolutely clear. I think after you've paid your debt to society by going to prison and getting punished, after you committed this heinous crime, it's a heinous crime, but it's still not intentional. I do think that shouldn't be automatic that you lose your job, but
I fundamentally
your employer
disagree
does have that option.
If I get charged with felony murder, time out. Wait, Gambit, hold on. If I get charged with felony murder, and then like I have to do the hard time for that, I don't think it's right that my job just looks at me and be like, yeah, no, you're good. You know, you're the guy that murdered while you worked for us, and that like, nah.
No, this should be like, well, I understand it was an accident, and you probably wouldn't do that again. So you
hold on.
I think you guys are arguing about different things.
We believe in redemption, right? So, like, niggas that get out of jail should have a way of life, right? So, like,
that's what I'm saying.
We can
100. I 100% believe in
But this
redemption.
man didn't even go to jail.
Yeah, like I don't think it's the right job.
I wasn't done.
Who that said that?
To restream a little bit, but yeah. Wait, but
I said they should go.
So
to
we
jail
can
first.
agree that we can agree that there should be some sort of redemption and stuff, but that still doesn't mean that like it was just an accident, right? Like,
I mean, if you're drunk driving, I do
gross
agree.
negligence. Do you think drunk driving is like? Do you think drunk driving is gross negligence?
Yeah, it's also an accident.
No, it's not, bro.
No, it's not. It's not.
Hold on, not drunk driving itself, but if you drunk drive and have an accident, it's both an accident and drunk driving. I like gross negligence.
No,
I'm sure it's a car accident.
If you drunk drive and nothing bad happens, that is still gross negligence, but nothing really bad happened.
So,
but you should still get punished.
So do you think if you kill someone with gross negligence, that's tantamount to an unjust killing?
It depends what you mean by unjust. It depends. Like accidents.
Hold on, let me unjust.
Hold on. I'm serious.
Okay, hold on. No, I'm gonna ask you a question. Right?
I think it was a tragic killing.
No,
I think it was tragic.
I mean, something.
Hold on. I want to answer a question if you ask me.
Yeah.
So if we're going to go by Google, hopefully you can trust Google.
Yep.
Unjust is defined as not based on or behaving according to what is moral, right, and fair. Do you think it's moral, right, and fair to be killed because someone is drunk driving?
It's not fair, so no.
So you do think it's an unjust killing?
It's unjust, but
so you think it's murder?
Just because unjust killing doesn't mean it's murder. They have nothing to do with each other.
Let me run down the line of thinking. Because in my mind, if anything is an accident, it could be really, really bad. But I don't think somebody's a murderer for killing somebody in an accident. I really don't.
Yeah, something could be an unjust killing, but it doesn't have to be murder.
But that's what I'm saying. Like it could be the case that something could be unjust now. And it'd be unjust killing, but without the murder aspect. Maybe unjust intentional killing is murder.
It doesn't have to have intent, though.
But now I'm saying that maybe that's the prerogative for murder, because there's a lot of like legal terms like felony murder or second, third, fourth. But I'm talking about like the colloquial word for murder, as in like, you really wanted to kill this nigga and then kill this nigga. That's murder.
Not what we
but in terms of if you're talking about legal terms, there's a bunch of
colloquially we're talking about unjust killings when we say murder.
But I'm saying now colloquially, I think it makes more sense that people would say that accidents aren't murder, and even though they're unjust killings, we have to add the stipulation that it has to be unjust and intentional in order for to be colloquially seen as murder.
At the end of
Like
the day,
I really
someone's
personally
doing
do not. In my mind, I really
Okay.
don't see accidents
No,
as
it's
murder.
only you, but that's
But,
okay. That's okay.
So,
That's okay.
smooth. You've been
for sure.
desperately trying to break in for a while. I want to make sure you had space to say something.
I can't believe what I'm hearing. Like it's not that I necessarily want to break in. I'm just literally lost at what he has going on right now, like mentally. Like the mental gymnastics, not called as murder, is insane.
It's felony murder, like by the definition.
I said that though.
How it happened, bro. If I drop a gun and the bullet comes out and it hits somebody and they die, I still murdered them. Like
That's
I don't
no,
care
no,
if it
you
was
killed them.
accidental or not. Like, I did.
I think that's manslaughter. I really do. What you just did.
I see this distinction. I don't know if it's maybe.
I feel like this is the blind leading the blind, right? You guys are arguing about like legal terms that like people. People don't know.
Well,
I don't know why you're.
One thought I did have with this. Oh, sorry. Go for it.
Even chat's on smooth ass right now.
Second degree murder is typically murder with
the gap between us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's something to this, right?
What? No?
Yeah,
I was going to say, to bridge the gap between us, I think what's happening is, different states have different standards for what they consider murder. Because I know that in the Rittenhouse case, the way they got him on some murder charges, but like very like low level, was that there was the standard of acting with a blatant disregard for human life. So that's why. So I do believe that in certain cases that you can be so grossly negligent that it can cause someone to die, and people will say you might as well have just intentionally murdered them because you were just being so fucking ridiculous and unsafe and just in the public that you're just a deadly hazard to yourself and others, and that should be murder in itself. That's how some people see it.
But that does only exist in like 3 states. I didn't know that. I think that was more broad than that. But yeah, it only exists in Florida, Pennsylvania, and Minnesota. So I think some states have felony murder, and only a couple of states have like third degree murder. So
why did you do that? I'm really mad at you, Isle. Why did you do that? All the conservatives in Prime's chat now woke up. They were all asleep, listening to Prime quietly. Then you heard Rittenhouse, and they're like, "Our Lord and Savior!" Now they're all gonna argue in chat, and then they're gonna like bait us into going on the open. But maybe that's a good thing.
I mean, what's wrong with Rittenhouse?
No.
He was found innocent, and I think there was some good there was some good evidence to say that, but we can move on. I think,
now they're really awake. Now they're really awake.
We can move on. We keep on topic.
I mean, there is something to say about the stand call. Actually, that's a good question.
Hold on. I got a good question for Gambit. Gambit, what is the distinction between a tragedy and murder?
Oh my God, the murder.
No. I think it's a good question. What makes something a tragedy and not murder?
Tragedy has to do with the historic impact of an event. So, because if somebody comes in my house right now and murdered me, I don't think it'd be considered a tragedy.
For your family, it might.
Okay.
But...
Yeah. For like some local group.
What?
I think it's when a local group affected by an
I'm talking about like somebody. What? How can somebody be killed tragically? As in, like, wouldn't you say that a very innocent person getting like hit by a bus is a tragic death?
Bro, but what time out? Well, like, by the definition, like you said, you trusted Google. Like, by the definition of Google, an event causing great suffering, destruction, and distress, such as a serious accident, crime, or natural catastrophe. I'd say like tragedy is very vague. It can it can refer to a bunch of things. A natural disaster can be a tragedy, but I wouldn't accuse an earthquake of fucking murder. Versus someone going into a church and killing a bunch of people, that's also a tragedy, which is also murder. So, like, tragedy, the word itself refers to a bunch of different things.
Tragedy can't be super local. Like, tragedy can't be, your mom, your pops, and a couple other people are severely impacted. I think tragedy is when it impacts on a deep level. Like, I don't know how many people, right? I can't give you a level, but that type of mentality.
Let's assume.
I just read the Google definition.
Let's assume tragedy can be on a personal, local basis, right? What is the distinction between, hey, this is a tragic killing versus this is a murderous killing and not a tragic murderous killing.
You
Like, what's the
told me to
difference?
go into a domain that I don't understand.
Well,
I
what's
can't
the
I
difference?
think a
What's the-
tragic. I think a tragic killing would be when Meg Thee Stallion twerked so hard on
Oh my
Instagram.
God! Shut up,
I have
Joe.
a heart attack and die, and then
But
the
that's
next
a natural
level
death.
would be
That's natural
then the next level would be if I was in the room while the video was being recorded, and then it hit me so hard that I died. I think that's a distinction. Anyway.
So, like, to answer the question seriously, like, I think the distinction between, like, when we're talking colloquially on a personal level, when people use the word tragic or tragedy or refer to a death, the difference usually seems to be like one usually is an accident. Like, they were involved in a shooting, but it wasn't necessarily them, and like that's tragic, versus someone,
Right.
just killing you.
A stray bullet hitting somebody.
Oh my God, guys! I don't know why you spend all this time arguing about this. I really don't. Like, I don't.
I do have a question though, that's not related to this, because there is a stand culture that I'm a little concerned about, and maybe it's part of ABE, maybe it's not. And that stand culture are Kyle Rittenhouse fans.
Oh my
And
God,
just,
Joe! Shut the no.
He's
No,
cringed,
for
but he's
real,
cringed
though.
because
I know.
he's 17 though.
No, I think.
Let's go.
I think. I mean, you're not exactly wrong.
He's not wrong. He's gonna get all the conservatives out.
I know they were sleeping. We gotta wake them up. We need people to go in the open and argue. Okay, I'm feeding content for later, but there is something to that, right? Where it's like, in the face of Rittenhouse, he killed people, and then for some reason, there's like this weird type of, at least the stands that I've run into, there's this weird type of avoidance of that reality.
Well,
Of like, but anyway, maybe coffee's gonna do it for us. Let's go.
I mean, do you not believe in self-defense? I mean, like, I don't know, the very fundamental thing of this country. One of them.
So coffee. Let's. Do we want to talk about Rittenhouse?
Yeah, we do. Like, I'll start. Like,
this is my thing.
We have to now because it's been
So
brought
coffee.
up
This
so
is
many
my
times.
thing. I believe in self defense like a lot, like strongly. But I think that entrapment and self defense are like a very close line to thread. And I think that, like, even we see with like the stand your ground law in Florida, there are situations where I think people are putting themselves in situations to be provoked to use self defense because legally it's going to be like it's going to be incapable of charging them. And I think that's what he did. So I think he put himself into a situation.
Whoa.
And I think that there were idiots that ran upon him for sure. But I think he put himself in that situation to defend himself to get off. And I don't like that. So I don't like the idea.
That's plausible.
Well, I
but
mean,
the other possibility is also plausible where he knew that it would get violent and he wanted to defend himself with that gun. So that's also a
It's the same
plausibility.
thing.
No. There's a difference. He's like, hey, if I get my gun,
He went there knowing he would get violent to defend himself.
No. There's a difference. There's a difference between, hey, I know if I bring my gun there, they're gonna attack me, so I'm gonna bring my gun there because I want to defend myself. Versus, man, if I go out there unarmed, they're gonna attack me. I'm gonna be vulnerable, so I better bring my weapon in order to defend myself. Those are two different mentalities, right? So the first thing you explained was the first thing that I said, where it's like, hey, if I bring my gun, they're gonna attack me, and I get the opportunity to defend myself and kill people. That's bad. We know that's bad. But you don't know whether it's that first one or the second option. It's like, well, if I don't bring my gun, I'm going to get attacked and be vulnerable. So let me bring my gun just in case.
So, do you think the stand culture for Joe Lewis throws gasoline? Do you think the stand culture for Kyle Rittenhouse is so strong because of conservatives' love for defense or their disdain of BLM protests?
I mean,
I think it was a combination of both.
Yeah, like I think it's both.
I think the
They
stand.
didn't like how there was a riot that burned down half the city the night before, and then when leftists were like shitting on Kyle for defending himself and killing those two people, like then the right said, okay, we don't like the BLM riots. Kyle actually did something that we kind of tacitly support, and they're shitting on him for it. So I guess we're gonna have to stand him now. And I think as that continued on, because it was like a whole year between that incident and the actual trial, that I think that everyone just got fully entrenched in a culture war situation. And so there were like stands and there were anti-stands that no matter, and then I think this is where it happened.
I think realistically, Joe, there's two explanations. The first one is that conservatives really hate the Black Lives Matter protests because of the destruction it causes, or they claim, right?
Oh, I thought we were gonna stop at black. Really hate black.
Yeah, they hate the Black Lives Matter movement, protest, whatever. But I also think the other aspect is because I do think that liberals may have went too far in attacking Rittenhouse.
Yeah, for sure.
I really do. I really do. Calling him white supremacist, calling him all this, stuff like that. And I do think because it was such an easy target for conservatives to be like, look at the left going too far, then they went like full steam ahead. Like how stupid the left is. Like this is a clear-cut case of self-defense, and they still can't see right in front of their eyes. So
I think
that's
if you
part of
assume
it too.
If you assume he didn't go there with those type of intentions, I don't think there is a take outside of it being self-defense, right? Like
I was just gonna say, I think that when we look at the Kyle Rittenhouse take and why there's such a stan culture behind him, I think the D1 and Gambit are exactly right. It's an example of one side of the media spectrum and everyone trying to label him something being wrong. And it's a nice little thing to hide behind when it's yo, you got Kyle Rittenhouse. And then it goes back to what Isles was talking about, where it's part of it is they're upset with BLM. They watched all those protests and it was so media, all the media presence of that. And they felt yo, they're just getting away with this. And then Kyle Rittenhouse happened. And then he was found to be innocent because it was self-defense. And now they have that little toy in the toy box to play with because it was self-defense.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but you could also make the argument that if liberals or I guess extreme lefties didn't make a really big deal of Connor Rittenhouse, then all this wouldn't happen, right? Fox News wouldn't have Connor Rittenhouse on their show, and all this.
Oh no!
They definitely no. See, in the first, I definitely think it still would have happened because there's that whole second half with the BLM shit where I think a lot of conservatives who hopped behind the Rittenhouse train felt exactly what Isles was talking about. Yo, they're burning all of these cities. Look at these riots, and the media's just letting them get away with it. And then again, there's Kyle Rittenhouse. I think Fox News, even if the media didn't call him a Nazi and a white supremacist, I think they still would have had him on because the dude went to one of these protests and then he killed people, and that's a big news story. Sure. It's gonna be a big court case whether or not the liberal media hits him with the white supremacist.
Yeah,
that's a court case in the time that it happened.
But I just kind of wish lefties would have just been oh yeah, what Kyle Rittenhouse did was self-defense. It's over. I just kind of wish that was the end of the conversation, and
we also forget that he's super. We also forget he's super young, as a 17-year-old, and I found it especially I forgot the word pernicious or something like that. That a lot of people were saying that he was using fake tears in court, and I was why would you even say that? There's no point in he's still young. This is a very difficult thing for him to go through. And also, weird. I found it really cringe. That he's getting commercials and stuff, and people putting up on a pedestal, and also saying that I really don't agree. Putting him on a pedestal and the face of a conservative movement.
Well, to be fair,
you got to make that money. You got to make that money.
To be fair, they don't they wanted Ashley Babbitt, but she was a little bit preoccupied.
Ashley Bad.
They wanted Ashley Babbitt to be the person they prop up, but then for reasons unforeseen, she couldn't make it any to the meetings. Tried to call her for the interviews. She didn't answer. So hopefully they find out what happened to her. But
Okay. Shut up, Joe.
You were staying smooth. You're gonna say something?
No. I thought I was gonna disagree with you, but then what you said at the end there, he shouldn't be pedestalized. I was okay, I can get with you, but I can't get with Coffee saying oh, we should have just let him leftists should have just said, oh yeah, we're gonna say he was self-defense and leave it at that, because you literally went out your way to be somewhere as a kid on a school night. It wasn't like he was there and he ain't have school the next day. This nigga did that shit and then went to school.
Yeah,
that's fucking crazy.
That is such a dumb.
Yeah, but those protesters shouldn't have also been there either way. So I don't understand your argument.
No,
nobody should have been there to begin with.
Been there.
Yeah,
technically.
To begin with,
but if those protesters
I'm
weren't
one of
there
the
to
charges.
begin with,
he didn't
then
even
there would have
live
been
there.
no killings.
He didn't live locally. That wasn't his local
He's
area.
actually he actually lives like he goes back and forth.
Like it's like a half an hour away. And like when it comes to this case, this is where I have to say, even though I don't like how it went down and what happened, yeah, he traveled a half an hour away. I did the same thing during these protests. If someone came at me in the same way, I'd probably defend myself. I live in New York State, so I wouldn't have a gun, but you damn well know I'd be throwing fists. I'd be grabbing branches and shit. Like, yeah, I can understand why he defended himself. Can I see your point, Smooth, where it's like, yo,
Bro,
there's
you
a
can't
bunch
say
of steps.
grabbing branches on ABE, bro. Stop it.
Shut the fuck up, Gavin. Shut the fuck
Do that. Stop,
bro.
man.
Shut the fuck
Was that a hey yo moment?
Hey, we gotta
Hey,
end the show now. You just called it. Start. Chill out. Man.
I'm just saying, like, much like the incident with Kyle Rittenhouse happened on a school night, J6 was on a school day. So I don't know what that.
So, all right.
Yeah, Spin I got nothing to do with it, bro.
So anyway, we do actually have to end this. To my audience, we will continue on with Open Walk on Panel right after this, right? So I've been enjoying this content. Whatever the fuck it is, we went so far away from the topic, I don't even know what to say. Anyway, if you've been enjoying this content, though, hit that follow button. Make sure notifications are on so you know I'm going live. We do this all the time. Don't want you to miss out on any of the content that we have to offer. So hit us up by hitting that follow button. Also, our social media in chat, exclamation social. You can get the links to our Twitter, our Discord, our TikTok, our YouTube. Follow us everywhere. Support us everywhere. It'd be much appreciated. Thank you so much for people who do. Okay, I'm going to give an outro to all these individuals, but again, we'll still have a walk on panel right after this, so stick around for that. The show does not end. All right, we'll go to MVP, Joe Lewis, who decided, like, I already got the title, so I don't have to I don't have to try anymore. Joe Lewis, though, I'm always excited to have you. You were something today.
This was fun. Okay, so to be fair here, I just was pushing buttons tonight. So the whole night. And yeah, you know, we got a little weird in certain spots, especially on the FBI CIA expansion. That seemed to be a very unpopular position. But hey, it got people in chat all riled up, and then, you know, I called upon the great white hope of the political conservative community, Kyle Rittenhouse, and you never find a conservative who's willing. They're always willing to defend him no matter what. And it's like, and hey, it brings I was just trying to bring conversation today. So
I appreciate it.
If you like me bringing conversation, don't watch my Twitch channel. I rant and virtue signal for hours. But if you enjoy that, watching black people virtue signal to a majority white audience, you can follow my channel, twitch.tv/Joe. Joe Lewis with two. Oh, okay, yeah, all right, I'm done. All right, thanks for having me either way.
I think Gam is just like disgusted with Joe. He's like, you know what? No more of this. No more of this shit. Okay, let's go to Coffee Politics. It's your first time here. We definitely do appreciate you. Coffee, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you. You know, I also want to mention, like, you know, just because you defend Kyle Rittenhouse doesn't necessarily mean you're a conservative. I'm a liberal. I vote for Biden and all that, and I'm not conservative, obviously. So yeah. But you know, I'm hearing feedback. But anyways, I had a lot of fun with this podcast or the discourse and all that and all the topics. If you want to follow me, I'm Coffee Politics on YouTube. I'm actually a new YouTuber, so new and upcoming YouTuber. I actually made a video called "Why Cheating in a Relationship Can Be Okay." So if you disagree with that take, you can go watch the video on my YouTube channel.
Hey, yo.
So yeah, I also made a video on Destiny as well. So yeah, don't got much to say. So thank you.
That sounds like interesting content. Hey, DM me that video. I wanna check that out actually.
Don't worry.
That actually might be a topic for us. It sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's no problem.
I'm really curious what Gamble will say about that. Actually, that's my first thoughts. Gamble is like, I just hope my girl's not watching this. Is his first thought. Anyway, but thank you for that coffee. All right. Let's continue on. Oh yeah, and put your links in general. Just like guys, put your social media links in my Twitch chat so that they can find you. Isle of Isles, thank you for being here. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, thanks for being contrarian.
Thank you, Prime. You know, we learned so much today. We had some shower thoughts that were really invalid in the fact that someone had it. You know, we learned CIA death squads. That's bad. Should be condemned. Driving drunk, maybe not so much. Apparently, but you know, on the topic, it's just so. It was really good to be on the panel, and I think that really, I don't think that we should be so quick to like call people Uncle Toms and things of that nature unless we can prove that they actually are intentionally trying to destroy the black community. At which point we can like go scorched earth and call them worse than Uncle Toms really at that point because like that's a existential threat. So I think that and then for the next and the second topic, I think that the thing that's so pernicious is that around certain communities and fan culture and stan culture, there sometimes becomes like a conspiracy of silence and open secrets where no one's hiding it because no one cares about it. So you can always know if you wanted to ask around and find out. But the thing is, like, no one ever wants to ask around and find out. No one ever wants to speak about it. And so, even though it's just out there in the open, like with R. Kelly that we've known and joked on for like decades now, like no one really cared enough to do anything about it until apparently just recently. And so I think that, that's something that we have to think about going forward when we think about the people who we uplift. And, I think that's something.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much. Much appreciated. All right. Let's go clockwise. We'll hit up our friend Pyro Tyrant. Pyro, we've missed you a lot. You've been here a lot of fun. Look at this motherfucker. He can't even wait to like give his outro. He just gotta he can't help himself. Fucking degenerate. Pyro, we miss you, buddy. And hopefully we can have you more in the future. Pyro's always a lot of fun, and he never disappoints. So thanks for being here, buddy.
Shut the fuck up. That was part of my outro. And also, I just gotta say, this panel was fun as shit. I can't wait for like 6 months to pass until I come back and I see a bunch of new people here and then I argue with them. But I like this panel. We learned a bunch of things. Like, for starters, Clarence Thomas, I almost called him Uncle Clarence. Clarence Thomas may not be an Uncle Tom, but I think everyone on this panel can deny he is definitely the angriest nigga to walk this planet and hold power at the same time. So I think we could lay it there. When it comes to R. Kelly and all of this like fandom shit, I say the same thing I keep repeating on the panel. Bruh, just let go of the parasocial shit. They're not your friends. They're not your family. Chris Pratt ain't Star-Lord. Drop it. Like, when they do something wrong, admit they did something wrong. It's not going to be the end of the world. It makes you look worse when you have to jump to defend them, when you have to jump to throw links at them, because they can do it themselves. Why aren't they? My nigga Chris Brown, he got a whole documentary out that he wrote. It's just like, he wrote that about himself. You take it for what it's worth, but like, you make sure to hold them to some type of account. Other than that, like, I enjoyed everybody here. Like, I like Joe Lewis, even though he talks too much. Coffee politics. I see why they call you coffee politics. You got to wake up a little bit, just a little bit. I like Isles. Gambit, he's always so much fucking fun. You always know it. Prime, I love having you here. Your disagreements are always fun. I thank you for having me on last minute. I enjoy it as a mod. I really do appreciate it. Dream, I just like how goofy you is, and smooth down there. Just goofy. I like him. So thank you for having me. Absolutely.
All right, next, Smooth. Thanks for stopping by as well. I know you were quite busy. I know you're a businessman up to stuff. But I appreciate you making time here.
Ooh,
You're muted, Smooth.
I gotta unmute myself. Okay, that's embarrassing. So all I want to say is, yeah, I'm always on the move. But I'm always gonna make time for this. This is fun. I enjoy this. I enjoy talking with you guys. You guys are hilarious. And also, this Saturday, I'm gonna drop the link right now. That's the link to PrimeCayes' interview on Homeroom with Smooth on my podcast. So you guys can check that out. That link, hit the little reminder button, and you guys can learn more about Prime.
Thank you. Yeah, we did an interview with Smooth. It was a lot of fun. I had a good time over at his channel. So everyone go check him out. Click that link that he put in Twitch chat just now, and you can see that. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. Next, we have my man D10 Dream. Controversial as ever, D10. All right. It's not an uncommon occurrence for this whole panel to become about you. Thank you for being on, buddy.
No problem. To be honest, I don't think my takes are that controversial. When you look at it at a philosophical take, I'm a philosopher, so I'm all about philosophy. So I really take the most philosophical aspect of every take. But I do self-admittedly, I do say like it's not really that pragmatic, and I take a lot of caveats to my takes and take criticism reasonably. I'm not an absolutist. So that's why I believe I'm the best person on this panel. I'm just kidding. That's MVP Joe. Thank you for having me on Prime. It's always a pleasure. I love being here. And it's really good to see GSU Gambit back. I miss him. It's good to see new people. I like my brother Coffee. You know what I'm saying? He cool, he's smooth. The Olive Owls, cool and smooth, and it's good to see the OG back, Mr. Pyro himself. And Smooth is hilarious, bro. He's funny, bro. He got a funny face to me, like not in an ugly way, but
Bruh.
What?
not in an ugly way, but like in a good way.
That's the inside thoughts you're supposed to keep to yourself,
You have to
bro.
run me my ones now.
I'm saying
Man.
you have a funny face, bro. Not in a bad way.
My
In
man
the
just
best
said
of
in
ways.
front of 100 people.
Saying is, you make me laugh, bro. You funny, bro.
You like
That's all.
Popeye. You make me laugh. You're just goofy.
And yeah, Joe always coming with the good takes. And I like challenging Joe. I feel like I hope Joe finds my challenging worthy. Yeah, thank you for having me. And I will be coming back to streaming soon. I took a very long break because life happens, and I'm looking forward to streaming again soon. So I look forward to that.
Okay. And Dream took the words out of my mouth, and that we were missed at GSU. My man has not been here for a while. He's very busy. He's a very busy individual these days. So I get it, but I am heartbroken nonetheless. So I was ecstatic that you said yes, that you joined us again. And I think you're a crowd pleaser. I think people like having you around, and especially when they are disagreeing with you. It's the most fun. So thank you, GSU, for being back.
Yeah, no, man. It's always good when I can make it. I've been missing it just like y'all been missing me. I've been missing y'all. I try to check it out every week if I check nothing else out. But no, this was really, really fun. The new people, I think ours was pretty dope. Coffee dope. Everybody else, y'all know what it is. Y'all know what the love is. But yeah, happy to be here. Just got to correct two things. Destiny definitely did nothing wrong. And killing people while you're drunk driving is definitely murder. But yeah, no, happy to be here though, man. It's been a while, so I'm super, super happy to be here. Oh, and shout out to Ben Roethlisberger. We brought him up earlier. Me and him are very connected. He doesn't know this yet, but yeah, that's my guy. So shout out to him.
He doesn't know it yet, but we're really connected.
I'm curious as to what that means. All right.
You'll find out.
There are all kinds of jokes I can make about this, and they are not good. All right, so let's continue on. Thank you all for being here. We're going to continue on for Open Work on panel. Anyone here could join us, but if not, that's okay. Thanks for spending your time, energy, and your passion with my community. I know they appreciate just as much as I do. Have a good one. Bye.
Later, Gators.
Jess, you have a question?